GY Radio, the little station with big intentions.
You better know that.
The legendary countryman invites you all to his 25th birthday party.
No, Shawnee, the 35th birthday party.
The 35th birthday party. The Errol McKellar fundraising edition in a rubber-dub style. From 9 p.m. till late on Saturday, the 28th of May at ML2 New Canal Street.
Next door, the old Latif Digbeth in Birmingham.
Digbeth Birmingham B55BL. Tickets are available now online from getyourtickets.co.uk. Hatman Birmingham City Centre, Summit Record Shop, Dudley Road, Birmingham. Or call 07961 173 642.
And by the way, we have the birth service ticket to prove everything. 28th of May.
A DJ and a cobbler invites you to the Manchester Spa Weekender from Friday 27th to Sunday 29th of January 2023. We'll be staying at the beautiful Park Inn, Radisson Hotel. Spend the whole weekend relaxing in the spa. Do a bit of shopping, or if you just want to meet new friends. This fabulous spa weekender is only £129.99 inclusive of breakfast. Based on 2 people sharing, it's easy deposit £40 with 3 payments of £30, then you're sorted. Everyone who books will get 25% off all treatment. For more info, call 07985 118 123 or 07961 173 642 or visit getyourtickets.co.uk. The Manchester Spa Weekender, sponsored by Get Your Tickets and GY Radio.
James Shoe Care is your multi-service store in Barkingside, and Martin Winter has now been trading there for 13 years. Repairing your shoes, cutting your keys, engraving and supplying your sports trophies, stocks, leather and travel goods, repairing your watches and giving you the best service ever. He opens from 9 to 5:30 Monday to Saturday. So pop in. James Shoe Care, 97 High Street, Barkingside, Essex, IG6 2AH. Visit jscbarkingside.co.uk. Call 07985 118 123. James Shoe Care, Barkingside. We're not just a load of cobblers.
Martin Winter and Michael Simon presents their double Leo and Virgo celebration of life on Saturday, 24th of September from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. at the beautiful Woolston Manor Country Club, Abridge Road, Chigwell, Essex, IG7 6BX. There will be 2 rooms of new and old school music by the best of the best. 100 super early tickets at £15 are now available on getyourtickets.co.uk. £20 and £25 thereafter. For VIP tables and party bookings, call 07985 118 123. That's 07985 118 123. Life's a wonderful thing. So let's all celebrate with Martin and Michael on Saturday, 24th September.
Ring the alarm, and not a sound is gone.
Barrister and Music Hall Promotions present the Four Aces Club Reunion Dance Part 2. Saturday, 4th of June at Tottenham Green Leisure Centre, Phillip Lane, N15 4JA. For the first time ever in one lawn, Saxon, Fat Man, and Java. 100 early bird tickets at £10 and £12.50. It's £15 after from Eventbrite. Getyourtickets.co.uk. The DJs, promoter and usual outlets. No booking fee for online tickets. It's more on the door. The Four Aces Club Reunion Dance Part 2, Saturday 4th of June from 10 till 5 a.m. Call 07958 187 054. Sponsored by MH Graphics.
We worldwide, baby. With DJs from London, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Nottingham, Northampton, Wales, Essex, Bournemouth, Leeds, Manchester, and the USA. We are GY Radio.
There ain't no other station like this.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the virtual couch this week. We're just waiting for
Yo, with the House Party Queen. House Party Queen.
House Party Queen.
There's only one, and she is original. The House Party Queen.
She's a GY Radio. She's original, and there's only one. She's original, and there is only one House Party Queen. Welcome and good afternoon to you. Welcome to another edition of the Virtual Couch, the May edition. I'm your co-host, Marty with an I, Winter with a Y. Hosting the show, as always, the ever faithful, ever beautiful House Party Queen. There's only one.
House Party Queen. House Party Queen. HPQ.
House Party Queen on GY Radio.
GY Radio. With the House Party Queen. House Party Queen.
House Party Queen.
There's only one, and she is original. The House Party Queen.
On GY Radio.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, darling?
I'm not too bad. You caught me there, didn't you?
Well, I looked up and I saw myself on the screen and I thought, oh, what's happened there?
Let's get House Party already. Oh my gosh, we've got lots of people in Mixcloud already that we've got to say hello to. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you are doing well. It's the House Party Queen.
HPQ.
I'll tell you what, it's been a very weird old week, as usual. And as for you, Martin Winter, how busy are you right now?
I'll tell you what, it's been great, but really busy. Very, very busy, HP. I'm not telling, you know what? I'm loving it. I do like to be busy, though, because I get off from, I think you're pretty much the same. If it's too quiet, I think, hold on, what's going on here? I like to be moving. I like to keep it moving. Being active, having something to do at all times, apart from when I'm sleeping, obviously. But yeah, it's been very busy, man. Lots of things happening. Loads of things in the pipeline. Loads of events in the pipeline, which we'll talk about later. You know, you'll be hosting a birthday party in September. We're looking forward to that. Loads of things. We've got the award ceremony tonight. We'll talk about that as well.
Yeah, we've got the Blackout Awards. We certainly have.
You know, so yeah, it's all happening.
But I've got a very, very big cat at the moment. Everyone, I want to, and that's to my calculation. Pumping up blood consistently since yesterday. I can't get her to a vet till tomorrow, and I'm so worried about her.
I'll look after her for you. Let me look after. No, let me look.
We'll get the vet bill as well. You can have that.
I'll look after her for you, man. You might not get her back, but I'll look after you. So how's the show's going? You're doing it alternately now with Lady B on a Thursday. How's it going? The Thursday shows.
Do you know what? It's great because I've got a freed up Thursday, and it just means that we can swap out if we need to. Like the other day we did. We swapped shows. I covered for her, and then it's great. It's great. I like it.
If you can, try and turn your mic up a bit. If you can, I don't know if you could turn up your mic a little bit.
Yeah, I think because it was moved away from me, so I need to move it back towards me. Is that any better?
Yeah, lovely, jubbly.
Yeah,
so you're on alternative Thursdays with Lady B, and it gives you time now to sort yourself out, doesn't it? So 1 week on.
It does, and I've been doing all sorts of things, and I think it's quite funny actually because we had someone post a message in Facebook this week. I'm not going to reveal the person. I mean, he was quite open, and I'm sure a lot of people might know who I'm talking about. And it was quite poignant because he opened up himself and allowed things that were stressing him out for other people to learn and read about. And I just thought that was so powerful because a lot of people don't like putting their business on Facebook. You get a lot of backlash from people saying, you're always on Facebook, you're always posting this or doing whatever, but it's also a great medium for people to learn.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that we continually learn from social media as well if it's used in the right way. And it made me sit back and think, you know what, if some of us could almost expose some of our vulnerabilities or what we're going through, and there'll be more support out there. And the wealth of support that came out from him was unbelievable. And so I'm talking about this because I've been on a little journey myself. One of the biggest insecurities I've had has been my teeth. They've been a nightmare.
Yeah.
Normally on the virtual couch, I will never smile. So I've been doing some teeth whitening.
You don't need to smile. You don't need to smile.
I've been doing some teeth whitening this week, so my teeth are a lot brighter, and I'm going to go and have my cat's changed that I had in my 20s. And so it's given me a little bit more confidence to smile in pictures. You'll notice a lot of my pictures, I never smiled. I was always like, I've got this face where I could purse my lips enough.
Yeah, but you got a face where you got a face HPQ. You don't have to smile.
That's
you know what I mean?
Well, Sharky wouldn't say that.
No, I'll have a little word with him later then. But yeah, you got one of those faces where you don't have to put on a smile. It's just a natural. It's a natural smile without smiling.
Yeah.
How about that? You know what I mean?
Practice. It's practice.
Practice.
That's all I can say. It's very much practice. So yeah. So. It's all about, I think, us being real as we get older too. And
it's funny because I read that
we are and being true to ourselves. That's
I did read that post the other day, and me, usual Martin Winter, read the first line, put a love heart up, then go back to it again, I thought, okay, make the phone call. Do you know what I mean? And I'm sure many phone calls were made as well. So big up to the person who done that post. Yeah, big up to you, man. You know what I mean? Yeah,
definitely. And, I had a conversation with him as well because I went through something similar a number of years back. And they found I was on antibiotics for about a whole year before they took me in for an operation and realised that I had a piece of plastic tubing in the back of my nose that had started to deteriorate. And nobody knew about that. Was causing so many issues. Yeah.
So how did that get there?
When I was younger, I was asthmatic.
Right.
And I was always having tubes. I was pretty much in hospital for my younger part of my life. I never went to infant school because I was hospitalized. I had asthma really badly. I was on ventilators. My heart stopped beating twice and everything. So my mum tells me. So I was very, very sick, and I was always having tubes up my nose and everything. And they think that a piece got left or lodged in there. And 20 years later, it was actually deteriorating and causing an infection that antibiotics couldn't get rid of.
Funny,
so the knock-on effect from that was everything was draining from the back of my nose down the back of my throat, and I had continuous bad breath for about a year. I couldn't get rid of it.
Didn't know where it came from.
Yeah, until they operated and found out. They thought it was my sinuses, but when they operated and they found the cause. The worst part was when I had to get the packing out and get all that done. I was telling Sharky the other day and he froze, so I'm not gonna expose that bit.
Yeah.
And I'm actually waiting. I'm delaying a bit because I'm waiting for my first guest. He should have been in the green room right now because we are running on time today, aren't we?
That's right, we're on time. I was out last night. I was partying last night. I had a good time last night. Went to Woolston Manor, the same venue we got the birthday party in September, and it was a high society dress to impress ball last night. And I didn't go there for the beginning of it because I was working yesterday. I came home, had something to eat, and went in my bed. Like I like to do before I go out. I like to go in my bed before I go out now and get that little hour nap. Even if I'm just, as long as I'm horizontal, that is enough for me to recap and get more energy. So I got there last night while, who was on? Don E was on last night, actually. Don E was performing. So I went live on Facebook. Don E and Carol Thompson, hosted by Rudy Liquid. I missed Slim. I missed Winston Reedy and Lorenzo. I watched Lorenzo Hall actually on the way there on Facebook. I tell you, Facebook is fantastic. I'm on the way to the venue and I'm watching what's going on in the venue via James Len, because he was Facebook Live. So big up to those who was at the Dress to Impress High Society Ball last night. Fantastic. Big up Studio Express, 5th Avenue, Del Boy, DJ Bogan. I was hosting an after party. We had a great time down there. People were well dressed, and fantastic time was had by all. It was nice to go to the venue and see some beautiful people I've not seen. I'm still seeing people I've not seen in 2+ years, HP. I don't know if you get that when you go out still.
I keep getting people coming up to me and saying hi, and I'm thinking, who are they again? And it's all the people that we've spoken to on Mixcloud and Zoom and all sorts of things. But one thing I just want to check at the moment, a lot of people are saying they cannot hear me. Can I just have a show of hands? Let me know in the Mixcloud.
Now, I know what it was. YouTube? I was turning down the wrong volume, so that's what it was. But I think you're good to go now. I'll turn around volume. But yeah, it's funny. It's nice to go out and see people I've not seen 2+ years. It's getting into 3 years now, and I think, wow, I didn't see you a year before all this business, and we're 2 years in plus now, and it's the first time I'm seeing you, so it's nice to see these people I've not seen in many a year, and it's nice feeling, man, to be able to hug someone you've not seen. I'm a kind of a huggy person. I do like to hug people.
And you know, it's strange now because we went through the pandemic whereby people wearing the mask was the norm, and now it's not. Now, you know, I've been out a couple of times. I'm looking around thinking, you know, there's no more masks. There's no more rules for it.
Ali, there was 2 people with masks on last night, and they looked out of place. I think it's one of my pictures, actually. Yeah, there's 2 people with masks. Obviously, they've got the mask on for a reason. Do you know what I mean? But it just looked out of place to me. It's funny, when we was going on the plane the other day, we didn't know we had to put a mask on to go on the plane. Lucky there's a lady had a bag of masks. Just as we were about to board the plane, have you got a mask? Mask? We need a mask on the plane?
Them anymore.
On Ryanair, they made us put a mask on. So there was a lady who just gave us all masks. Me, Sharky, PC, The Sure Thing, El Lloyd, just gave us all the masks, and we were good to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Got to say hi to those in the chat room. Hi, Wendy S. How are you, darling?
Martin,
good afternoon
I'm
to
going to let
Cheryl.
you say hi to the chat room and play some music while I find my first guest.
Okay, you go to your guest. Shortly. All right. Hi to my chat room family. Ven RG. Let me put you guys on my big screen for a little while. Ven RG, Cheryl. Who else we got in the chat room? E to the T to the Y to the S. Mandy. How you doing, Mandy? Hi to Big Brown Eyes. Hello, Big Brown Eyes. Good afternoon. Mary. Good afternoon, Mary D69. Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to PAT Sasha. Good afternoon, Sasha. Guys, can you please share that link? Click that share button and share the link to a friend, okay? It's on the virtual couch with our very own house party queen. I can see the first guest in the green room right now. Click that share button, guys, and invite a friend on the show this afternoon. It's once a month, every 3rd Sunday of the month. House Party Queen does it on the virtual couch, co-hosted by myself. Basically, I'm just in the background doing my little bits. Big up to Sharky as well, working hard behind the scenes. Always working hard behind the scenes. Always doing his works behind the scenes. House Party Queen. House Party Queen. HPQ.
House Party Queen on GY Radio.
I should have got myself a cuppa. Why? Radio. With the House Party Queen. House Party Queen. House Party Queen. There's only one, and she is original. The House Party Queen.
On GY Radio.
Also, got to say big ups to Rex Radio family. We stream on Rex Radio between 12 and 2 on a Sunday. And of course, we stream from gyradio.co.uk. Big up to the GY Radio family. So, House Party Queen, I can see the first guest in the green room.
I can indeed.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Are you ready, Mr. Julian Paul? Oh, I'm loving the name there.
Ready.
Screen with me. Can we get him up? That's it. That's better. Welcome, Julian. Can you hear us? And can I hear you?
I can hear you loud and clear. Hi, Edison. Good morning.
Welcome. Good to see you, Julian. Finally, we meet. This has been, by the way, those that don't know, this has been months and months of preparation, trying to get a hold of this busy young man. And I totally understand how busy you are, by the way. I've been watching everything that you've been doing. But first of all, let me introduce you properly and welcome you. I love the name, Julian, the Entrepreneur Hall. So why don't let's welcome you to everybody. Do you want to introduce yourself to the Mixcloud family here?
Yeah, absolutely, Alison. So good morning, everyone. My name, is it morning, it's afternoon? Good afternoon.
It's afternoon now.
It is. My name is Julian Hall, otherwise known as the Entrepreneur, and I am the CEO and founder of a social enterprise called Ultra Education.
Oh, sorry, I thought he was going to give me some more there. Okay, right. So it's a little bit more Ultra Education. And from what your website states, it states that you are the #1 provider of entrepreneurial education in schools and clubs. Now, you have a focus in your school as well. It's not just about education. it's about supporting the essential life skills for our young people coming up. That's obviously not being taught in schools. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about that program that you've got there?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Alison. So the mission of Ultra Education is to ensure, as you say, that children and young people everywhere have access to effective entrepreneurial education. And the way we do that is we define an entrepreneur to a 10-year-old, because we start at 7 years old, as someone who does what they love and then makes some money out of it. So if a child or a teen has a hobby, something that they're really passionate about, we help them to find the revenue model behind that and how they can make money doing the things that they are interested in, their hobbies, their passions. And kids find that fun. Kids are aware of money today and the value of money, and they want to buy stuff, they want to save, they want to, think about the future. And where the gap is in school is that conversation only happens when you are kind of a sixth former, right? When you're, 18 plus. And even still, when you're doing your A-levels, the next milestone is university, right? And then it's only really at university that there is a really strict jobs focus. Prior to that, you've got apprenticeships and interns. But the problem with all of that is that there aren't enough jobs going around, Alison, is the honest truth. And there aren't enough aspirational jobs, especially for children and young people who are from areas of disadvantage. They keep getting very low-end jobs or jobs that don't have career opportunities. So my thing is that if you can get the job of your dreams, that's amazing. There's absolutely nothing wrong with working for someone else. But if you can't get the job of your dreams, then you should have the skills, the skill set and the mindset to be able to create the job of your dreams. And that's what entrepreneurship is. And that's what we want to get to kids and young people earlier in primary and secondary schools.
Yeah, and I noticed on, from reading about you, you said you provide children with realistic options for future employment. And that's really good, because sometimes I don't think we're given the realistic options based upon the social, economic and educational status of yourself also. It's okay to talk about your future when you go to a privately educated school. You've got a big support unit around you that's pushing and supporting you all the way through the educational system, and you're going to after school clubs, and therefore your mind is kept very busy. That's fine, but we've got a whole cohort of young people that don't fit into that gap, and that we need to set realistic options for them. And I love what you do in terms of, okay, so it's not always working for someone that's the way forward. And I think that's what we were taught as we were told as young as children growing up. Go get your education, go get a job, right? It wasn't go work for yourself. This is for the majority of us. We're told to go and find a job to work for somebody else. But I think we've got a whole generation of children that have got a completely different mindset to how we've been brought up. And I think also combined with the pandemic, people were just stuck for things to do. And suddenly the side hustle or the hobby has become, okay, actually, this could be a reality. And I think, you holding hands with our young people is just a perfect way of doing that. So, and also I love the fact of the titles you put on your website. Also, you call them, here are our young people CEOs. You're calling them CEOs. They've got their company. That must feel fantastic for a young child to say, I've got my own company and I'm the CEO. What's the feedback once they've actually got their company going and it's up and running?
Yeah, so I remember when we did our first kids business fair, which was in 2016 at a top 10 law firm called Reed Smith on Broadgate in Liverpool Street. We had about 25 young entrepreneurs. Average age was about maybe 11 or 12 years old. And there was a little girl who had been working with us in a school for some months prior, and she came up with this really cool idea. And she said that, little girls like lip balms and they like colorful pens. So she put a lip balm, an orb-shaped lip balm at the end of a pen, and she called her business Pennabalm, right? And I just thought it was so, beautifully decorated, and she spent lots of time, making all these pens and putting the orb-shaped lip balm at the end of it. And I remember at the end of the fair, she ran up to me and said, Julian, I made £100, right, from that, and she was there for a few hours. She made £100. And I remember looking at her thinking, no one can ever take that experience away from you. You know, that's your experience. It wasn't me telling you that you could make £100. It wasn't your mom. It wasn't your teachers. You've created a product or service that you thought other kids would love. They did love it. There's a value exchange. You've created something which the world wanted, right? And that was from you. That was your idea. It wasn't mum's idea. It wasn't the teacher's idea. It wasn't Julian's idea. It was your idea. You've gone through the process. You've created it. You've exchanged some value. You know, you've got your reward at the end. And for me, that built her confidence up, right? And she could now stand 10 foot tall. And in her journey, you know, 7 years later, she's now an exemplary student. Like, I mean, she won a national competition in you know, some core academics about a month ago. And she did have supportive teachers. She's got a supportive household, but we know that the impact of kids being able to realize what they are passionate about and getting the positive reinforcement from others that, yeah, we see this as a value as well. And we're going to prove that it's a value, not by giving you a pat on the head, but we're going to give you some money for it. That is the acid test, right? And normally, people don't get that experience until they're adults, right? But Correct. We've got 10-year-olds having that experience. So to answer your question, they grow in confidence massively. And it's probably the number one bit of feedback we've had from teachers and parents over the last 7 years is that their children are now more confident. And I know, growing up as a child who was introverted, that confidence can be everything for you, right? It can enable you to go for opportunities you wouldn't normally go for, to believe in yourself that little bit extra, to do things that the world hasn't told you could do, but you've got that self-belief. And so, you know, it's as much of a skills development bit as an empowerment piece that, you know, we seek our work to enable young people with.
Sorry, I was so engrossed in what you were saying there. It's so powerful, and I've got a video also that I'm going to show a bit later on, and we'll talk about your business fair, the Young People's Business Fair, which is one of the reasons why I brought you on also. But what gave you the actual motivations to start this? If we just rewind a little bit, you know, you've built quite a large organization here, and you've got affiliations with a lot of companies too. How did you start on this journey for Ultra Education, and what made you start?
Yeah, so there were two main drivers. So this is, you know, I can't remember how many businesses I've had before this one, but in a previous business, when I started my own, I used to have a digital agency with a couple of business partners of mine back in 2006, 2007. And I remember at the time we were, I believe, the first Black-owned digital agency in Europe. And when we were in Shoreditch, we were certainly the only Black-owned company there. So we stood out. And I would, as the CEO, I would be asked to come and talk about my story at corporate events, colleges, schools, universities. And it dawned on me, because there was a teacher who admitted it, that what they really wanted to know was, what were three Black guys doing in Shoreditch, right? Why weren't we rappers? Why weren't we, you know, doing something in sport?
In the barbershop, yeah.
Yeah, why weren't we doing the stuff that we used to doing, right? You guys are doing something very, very different. Why? And why would you leave? Because we were all in corporate jobs, right? I had a career in investment banking prior to that and had side hustles and all the rest of it. Why would you leave safe, secure investment banking, you know, role and come and do this startup thing, right? And so, as I, you know, would tell my story in schools, I was really intrigued by the fact that you had these students asking me very basic questions about business and entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah.
And asking me as if I was the last person in the world that knew the answer. And I realized after doing this for so long that if they're asking me these questions, it means that they're not being taught this at school. Right now, I know it's an obvious thing for us now, but you know, back in 2007, I kind of thought that maybe somebody was going into schools teaching kids about business and entrepreneurship in a way that's relevant to today, not what was happening in the 20s or the 60s or McDonald's or Virgin. No, kids can't relate to that, right? if you're talking about a young boy or girl in an inner city school, they can only relate to what's around them, right? And to people who have got a similar lived experience to them. And there was no one really, talking to them in that way, people that they could resonate with. So over time, I had this growing compulsion to solve that problem because it caused me to reflect on my own journey. And, essentially, I was what many entrepreneurs consider themselves to be, an accidental entrepreneur. So when I started my first business at 18, it wasn't because someone told me. It's because, there was a problem I wanted to solve. I got a group of friends together. We solved the problem. We made some money. And that was an early experience. And it built some skills, which I believe increased my life chances. But forwarding on to adult life, I look back at that and thought to myself, well, entrepreneurship's done a lot of great things for me. But if somebody isn't deliberately teaching this stuff to kids in schools, then what chances are they going to have, right? They may not be as fortunate as me to have, gone through all of the different iterations I had to be able to survive in business, right? A lot of them wouldn't. And I believe that a lot of them wouldn't because they just didn't have the information at a young enough age. So, that was one of the key drivers behind me, setting up this organization, because I realized that the greatest contribution I could give back to entrepreneurship, which I believe did a lot for me, was to give it back to the next generation, but in a way that would be effective and impactful.
And I think it definitely is. So once you've got your idea for Ultra Education, I mean, how did you go about that? I mean, it's a large running organization that you've got there now. And I've seen the educators and the advisors that you've got in your team that work with you. How many people have you got working with you for this?
Yeah, so including the interns, about 15.
About 15 people. Okay, and how does Ultra Education actually work? Is it almost like a Saturday school? Is it like after school, or is it like a mainstream school? How does it work, and how does it integrate with their mainstream studies?
Yeah, sure. So we run programs which we do in partnership with a school, a youth organization, a housing association, a local authority, even parents. So there's a number of different ways that we get our programs out there. So when we first started, it's because a school approached us and said, we've seen, what you have been talking about. Do you have a program that can be run in our school for the next, couple of terms? So I developed a program and we went in and we delivered it as a pilot, and that worked really well. And then we had other teachers. So because I, was very comfortable with social media, I would talk about everything that I was doing on social media, right? So I'd have other teachers reach out to me and say, can you do it in our school? Can you do it in our school? And so, that compound effect just grew and grew and grew. And then parents would say, oh, do you have a weekend club? So we set up a weekend club. It was the first business that I ran, which was customer demand led, meaning everything that we did was because a customer asked us for it, not because I thought of it. I thought of the idea of teaching entrepreneurship to kids, right?
Yeah.
But the way in which we did it was driven by the customer. It was driven by, local authorities, MPs, other youth organizations would reach out to us as they do today and say, look, we've got a group of young people. We've got a problem we need to solve here. We've got an engagement issue. We've got kids who are bored, kids who are falling out of mainstream. Can you come in and use entrepreneurship to help engage them, to help, carry them along a journey, to help get them ready for the world of work, et cetera, et cetera. So we align what we do to try and solve the problems for the young people that we're working with.
And the funny thing is when I did prison mentoring, it was one of the things we used to teach the mentees in there is entrepreneurship, because the chances of them getting a job when they were coming out was so slim. It would be like, and basically playing on their hobbies or their interests and what they like and getting them into programs. Now, Princess Trust is probably another good organization that helps young people realize their dreams and getting their almost like the imagination alive with whatever their dream was. And get that into motion through the support mechanism that they have. But it's interesting to listen to you saying that yours is completely, customer led. Do you think that it's something that should be on the curriculum then, learning about life skills? I mean, I've been an advocate for it for a long time. And by the way, I was in investment banking. I used to work for Barclays, and I was a big volunteer, especially working in Tower Hamlets. And they used to have something called Life Bank. And Barclays actually have a website, and they have all money management on there. It's very, very good, actually. And we used to deliver a program to young people to make them understand. And this is really just about finances, though, about opening up a bank account, spending, savings. It wasn't deep and meaningful like your program has got, and it certainly didn't go into entrepreneurship. But what they did was they used to give a chunk of money, I think it was to Brent Council, I think it was £100,000, and they ran something called a Life Bank, and it was run by kids. And basically it was for all the projects happening around Brent. They would have to apply to this Life Bank. Say if it was a youth centre and they wanted a new TV or take kids out on a trip, they'd make the application. The kids set up the applications. The kids sifted through the applications. They set up the board, the tours, the terms of references to how it was actually going to work. And they actually agreed or declined the applications also. So I thought it was a fantastic scheme and helping kids' confidence there in terms of decision making and structuring meetings and knowing how to act. And I think some of these are just as important as maths and English and physics and chemistry. And we sometimes are setting our kids up for failure by not equipping them with those essential life skills. People seem to think that you need to have street skills to survive on the streets. Wait till you become an adult and you reach over the age of 18 and suddenly, everything's upon you and you've got to start paying bills and you have no idea in what to do. And sadly, there are still some kids that don't know what to do. But with organizations such as yourself, we're helping that. But I think it's something that should definitely be on the curriculum for them to learn.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say to that is, well, first of all, you're absolutely right. But the reason you're right is because that initiative that you're talking about, it started and it probably stopped and it probably didn't restart again. And this is the problem. There are lots of great initiatives which are short-lived. And it's a shame, but it's the nature of the sector. So it means that there'll be, a select few kids who for some weeks, months, or maybe some years, if they're lucky, would benefit from this stuff. But then you've got hundreds of thousands who wouldn't. So it's a little bit like, it's a little bit of a gamble as to whether or not, those kids are going to be in a school with a program that's funded or in a borough that's, had someone who's put on something like that, or a bank who's been kind enough to sponsor all of this stuff. But it's not sustainable. That's the problem. It's very, very bitty. It's very disjointed. The sector knows this. It's not a secret. But integrating it into the curriculum means that it's there all the time, right? And that's the reason why what you said is so important. Having entrepreneurship in the curriculum is important. We actually spent the last couple of years integrating entrepreneurship into a school in South London. And because the reason why we integrated it into the different subjects is because there wasn't room, and this is part of the problem with the national curriculum, there isn't actually room in the curriculum to deliver, there's an argument which suggests there isn't room in the curriculum or in the school day to deliver a new subject, right? Because head teachers have said to me, Julian, there's lots of good programs out there, life skills, entrepreneurship, all this stuff. But what do we take out of the school day to replace it with, right? So until Department for Education say this is a subject that is going to be ranked by Ofsted, and then it's not going to drive schools, because schools live and die by their Ofsted report. If Ofsted aren't going to report on this, then schools will make a best efforts, but they're not going to put resources behind it is the issue. It won't be prioritized, right? It won't be prioritized. So the reason why we with this other school in South London that we integrated it in all the other subjects is because entrepreneurship could be a thread that ran through all the different subjects, right? So even if you take something like physical education, right, PE, all of the equipment that the kids are using are developed by a business. Businesses bring them in, right? There's a business model behind it. There's a ton of freelancers in and around the sporting industry who are coaches, who are massage specialists, who are sports psychologists, right? A lot of these people run independent businesses. If you think about something like art, even when I went in to support the art class, as we know, one of the big problem with artists is that they're not able to commercialize their work. So they can't live off their work. They've got to do it on the side. Whereas if they had, you know, the commercial aspect to it, that they could live from their work, right? And you could take this all across the board. Even when we looked at a subject like classics, historically in Pompeii, the freed slaves became entrepreneurs so that they could help to make the roads better and to create employment, right? So even entrepreneurship existed in a subject like classics, right? And even when you look at things like biology, even words like ecosystem, which comes from biology, there's a lot of ideas which the world of business borrows from science. And so there's a lot of crossover in the way that you think about business, in the way you think about science. There's lots of crossovers, right? So we spent about 2 years doing that whole integration piece, you know, working with the teachers and all the rest of it. But that was just one school. You know, for us to do it across all the schools in the UK, we've got to do it top down. And that's something that, you know, we'd like to campaign for at some point.
So I suppose my next question is, because I've spoken to a few educators, establishments such as yourselves. I've got Izzie on later on, who's a children's author of Black books. Do you think it's worthwhile or pertinent that we start thinking about, we open our own schools and teach our kids what we feel is essential in life, as well as the standard educational format? Because, you know, and we'll talk about books later, but she's got like African sayings in there and African symbolisms, which our young people can identify with. You know, we got brought up with Peter and Jane, or John and Jane, or whoever it was, type books, where we couldn't identify with anyone in those books. We didn't look like them, but we had to read the words. But now we've got a lot more. And I think in terms of us, you know, you've got a great organization. Have you ever thought about the next steps of opening up a mainstream school, or are you just happy with the fact that we're supporting in terms of the life skills or the entrepreneurship that you concentrate
it's a really good question, and I get asked that once a week. I kid you not. I mean, the thing is, so what I would say is that there are schools out there. There's just not enough. That's what it is, and there are supplementary schools out there, but there's not enough. And even for the ones that exist, they need capacity building, they need funding. So I feel like if we could build on what we already have as a starting point, because part of the problem is that, and I'm not saying that it's not something that we wouldn't look at in the future. What I am saying is that there is a lot of we're not pooling our efforts enough.
I would say if we pooled our efforts, we could be such a great force to be reckoned with. If only we could do that.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, look, I'm in the sector, and I'll just be honest. There are loads and loads of Black youth organisations in London, loads of them, more than you could count on all of the hairs on your head, right? And the majority of them aren't doing as well as they would like to do.
Yeah.
And I just think that if there were less, but we work together more, and there are pockets of organizations working closely together, but it is a bit of an issue. So, you know, I'm saying that to say that in order for us to have a school or a number of schools, it means that we need to work together to be able to make that happen. You know, Julian can't do it on his own. It doesn't work like that. You know, there needs to be there's a very specific way in which you go about setting up a school. You know, it's a considerable effort to do that. And it is doable, but I guess what I'm saying is that there are lots of individuals, small organizations out there who could kind of pool together to make something like that happen, as opposed to it being, you know, a new set of individuals that come up, because I don't think we'll be then leveraging the experience and the time spent with the organizations that already exist. Because again, lots of organizations doing a lot of great work, but these challenges in that, because I think that there are economies of scale, capacity, energy, that means that, you know, they can't, you know, we have the same problem, do as much as we'd like just because of our size.
Yeah, I suppose it is a bit of a conundrum to be in, and I suppose if we were more cohesive as a nation of people, we could be so much more powerful, as I said earlier on. But again, coming back to your organisation and something that you had organised quite recently, and that was the young business or young entrepreneur. What was it called? Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it was a youth business fair.
A youth business fair. So what I'm going to do is, if I can get this video up, because it's I just want to show people what your youth business fair was about and how you actually support our young children. Let me just get this video up and then I can screen share and get this started. 1 second for us. So everybody, I pulled this off your site. Thank you. The young business fair is all about, what is it all about, Julian?
Yeah, so it's about providing a platform for young entrepreneurs everywhere to be able to showcase their products and services in aspirational places and to get support from the public.
Okay, and this is in its 8th year. So everyone take a look at this. This is actually quite, this is phenomenal. I'm pretty impressed. 1 second, let me get this up. I think you guys can all see this now.
Said to me that, isn't it amazing how far we've come, and we've brought these young entrepreneurs into such an inspirational venue. It's testament to the fact that there was such a demand for youth entrepreneurship, not just from kids and young people, but from parents and teachers, to use entrepreneurship as a way to develop soft skills and employability skills and life skills. So many great ideas that are out there, and if you leave kids to dream and to think big, that they'll come up with some really exciting stuff.
Me and my older sister, we both had really bad dry skin, and my mum didn't really like using products with chemicals in it. So me and my mum came up with, we was really just playing around with some natural stuff which are good for skin, messing around and seeing what came up, and the one we made right now was really good for both of us.
I like to look at a lot of photos, and I just felt like, oh, maybe I could do this. So then I just started to do that ever since, and I just took photos.
I got inspired by my mum, so I just started with like a quick couple of like very powerful quotes, and then added colour, picture frame to it. I went to Pandora and got a Pandora bracelet because I really wanted it, but it was really expensive. So I thought of making my own shop, and my mum told me to do a business plan, so I started doing that.
Customer buys the computer, and then after the customer buys the computer, I'll build it for them and then tell them the specs that is, and then they'll like, I'll send it to them.
It all started in lockdown when I was suffering from anxiety due to the pandemic and some friends at school, and I used that negativity and channeled it into making something positive for others to enjoy.
At the point at which we went into lockdown, the innovators were the ones who won out. The people who can work on their own, who've got the confidence to explore, the confidence to build, the space to think, well, really blossomed. And that's what's so brilliant about this sort of enterprise. It really brings out the best in people.
So proud of how far they've come. It's grown so much, and I've seen some kids that we taught even back 4 years ago who are here today showcasing their businesses, so I'm really proud of them.
And we're going to take that momentum into the future so that we can impact the lives of many more young people. We can run more events like this across the UK, and we can really scale up and show the UK and the rest of the world that kid entrepreneurs are here and they can compete with the best of them.
You just have to have the right people around you, the right mindset, and you'll do fine, yeah.
That was fantastic. I've got a really soft spot for young people, and obviously that just resonated with me. It's brilliant. Tell us about this young people's business fair and how successful it was. I mean, it's in its 8th year, so it's got to be highly successful, right?
Yeah, I mean, like everyone else, we had a slowdown during lockdown. However, it really did build the need for the work we were doing, and during that time, lots of kids were using entrepreneurship and creativity to manage their mental health. And as you heard, the little girl, her name is Olivia, she makes kind of scented candles with crystals.
Oh, yes.
They're amazing. She said that she took the negativity and
Channeled
turn it
it.
into something positive. She channeled it. And, you know, I think she's like 13 years old, right? So to hear that from a child, I mean, it really is something. But her and the other 99 kids that were there, kid entrepreneurs that were there, they don't have a way in which they can showcase their products. I mean, it just doesn't exist. There aren't events, enough events. There are more and more springing up now, but there aren't events dedicated to just showcasing kids. And what was amazing for us is that we were able to get the Great Hall at Wembley Stadium. That's important because it's a venue which kids would often not have access to for their entire lifetime. You know, venues like that are usually inaccessible. And so we're really grateful to the FA for opening their doors and kind of bringing down the barriers of access to places and spaces like that. So what it does also do is it helps kids to believe that they can go into big shiny buildings, and it helps to raise their level of aspiration so that later on in life that they're not afraid of institutions, and they're not afraid of, you know, big glass windows and whoever's in them, because they've been there themselves and they've done something meaningful in it. But also it was the first time, I think probably ever, that many kids have seen other kids like them exercising their passions and being young CEOs. And the ripple effect of that for me is what's important, because you know, Olivia will go in, she's seen another 99 kids doing the same thing, which reinforces the belief that she can do it. The 1,500 visitors that came along, the other teachers, families, professionals and kids who see the other kids doing it, now that resets their expectation of what reality looks like. And so we know that ripple effect will go out, you know, into our communities across the UK, so that we can raise the awareness that youth entrepreneurship not only is possible, but it's possible for the average child, which then essentially goes back to our original, one of our original goals, which is when I said that if a young person cannot find the job of their dreams, they should be able to create the job of their dreams. And events like this help them to build the confidence that actually, you know what, instead of me going to get that job that I really don't want to get, I can create my own business from something that I'm genuinely interested in, something that I'm genuinely passionate about. And that's a life which is worth living, right? Because most people do not like their jobs. I mean, that's just a fact, right? You know, there are memes.
I can say that now, yeah.
Monday morning, loving Fridays. You know, people joke about it, but it actually creates very, very serious mental health and well-being issues. You spend the majority of your life working. So if you spend the majority of that time doing something you do not like, it's going to have a negative impact, a massive negative impact on your well-being and on your mental health. So for me, showing kids that they can do something that they're passionate about means I have a greater chance of having an enjoyable experience of being able to work and make money.
I mean, you can just see the confidence on some of those children's faces. I mean, they have to literally stand up there, sell their project, you know, get their product together, be able to market it, be able to talk about it, and be able to take money for it. I mean, you obviously got the support of their parents behind them, but to have that kind of experience is priceless. And also, kids, you know, I said it before, kids love praise. They're like sponges. They got big imagination, big dreams, and sometimes they just don't know how to fulfill them. I've had Proud and Gifted on, where he goes around celebrating young people and giving them awards for their successes, however big or small they may be. And he says he does it because of the smile that he sees on their faces when you give that award, that recognition that so many young people actually want and don't get. And it's just amazing. It really is. And I think it's just going from strength to strength. The fact that you're in your 8th year, you know, you've got, what I didn't show was some of the sponsors speaking out, talking about the children there and how blown away they were by their ideas that they've got, because they too have ideas as well. And I mentioned earlier, and this is why sometimes you see me looking up on my screen, because I'm trying to find things. And I just want to quickly show your website, because this is what I mean by praise. You've got a page on here for your young CEOs. And basically you've got on there their names and all the links to how you can actually get to the young person and what they actually do. And, you know, for a young person to come back and go on their website and tell their friends, look, I'm a young CEO, I'm on here. It's brilliant. It really, really is. Let me just stop sharing my screen for a second. So, you know, we're coming up to the last parts of our meeting today. The last things I just want to ask about is, you know, you've got some businesses behind you. Do you have the backings and sponsorships of some of these businesses?
Yeah, so there were a number of organizations who helped us to make the recent fair possible. Oak North Bank, the FA, Quintain, Wembley Park, A10, Sapphire, you know, and I think, and Brent Council, of course, had supported us. And, you know, we're working with a whole range of sponsors to support us for our winter fair. And we've got a whole bunch of funders behind us, Arts Council, Lottery, Unlimited, a number of others who kind of support our day-to-day work. So, yeah, I mean, it isn't easy getting these guys on board. But
probably a lot of hard work. Yes.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but you know, to their credit, a lot of them, you know, they all see the vision, and a lot of our work is aligned to what they want to achieve. So it makes a partnership meaningful and worthwhile on both ends. And so we're just hoping to continue and to grow that.
Okay. And I mean, the fact that you're attracting some of these businesses means that they've got a belief in the idea as well. I mean, I can't praise it enough what you're doing. Then I'm definitely coming to the next one. I'm not missing it. Okay. It's going to go into my diary. But as you said, it's important for a young person to learn about the world. It's not just about going and getting a job. And I think I put this phrase on Facebook the other day. It said, just lost it. Let me find it for a second. It says, follow your dreams or you'll spend the rest of your life working for someone who did. And that can't be, it's such a powerful statement, isn't it? You know, and
it is. I mean, the thing is, you know, there are steps to that though. So you might want to have a fashion business, right? And that's your dream, but there's absolutely nothing wrong. And often it's a great strategy to go and work for a fashion business, to learn about what it takes and what's behind the curtain and the skills and the people you need in the team, so that when you go and do it for yourself, you make less mistakes. So, you know, there's a certain culture which says it's either or. It's either entrepreneurship or it's a 9-to-5. That's not true, because lots of people who work a 9-to-5 have a side hustle and are, you know, part-time entrepreneurs. And lots of entrepreneurs will work for someone, not in the traditional sense, but they might do some consultancy on the side. It's a very typical thing. It's much more of a hybrid way of doing things now. It is not an either or. And again, if you want to create a business, you want to start selling food products, you want to go into tech or whatever it might be, it's absolutely a great idea to go into an organization and learn how to do these things before you go and do it yourself, right? If you can't do that, then there's lots of ways you can learn. There's lots of online resources you can use to learn to be able to do it yourself. But, you know, I'm just saying that sometimes you're not in the place to, and unfortunately, lots of people who have dreams just don't have the confidence to be able to exercise those dreams.
Yeah.
So being around those people who can help to chip away at the shell that you have around you, because, you know, you're seeing, you know, that individual follow their dreams, right? So it can rub off on you.
It's a knock-on effect, yeah.
There is a knock-on effect, absolutely. So, you know, spending the rest of your life working for someone who's following their dream, that's not a good idea. But sometimes looking at it as a learning, as an internship, right, as a paid internship for you to work out how you can do that for yourself, no matter what age you are, you know, isn't a bad thing.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Well, one of the last words I wanted to say, I wanted to speak about, I think the knock-on effect with some of this in the pandemic, they've spoken about this in the circles, is called the Great Resignation, where you've got a lot of people now that are coming out of their corporate jobs, a bit like what you did, and starting up their own business, and the pandemic afforded that. But I think we've got a generation of young people that will not be working for big corporate companies and will be setting themselves up in business and obviously getting the corporates to buy from them. That's the world would like to see, I think, as well, an even keel of entrepreneurs and the corporate side. But I think it's great that we can expose them to both. Yes, if you want to work for someone and you have a dream, desire, career, you can follow that path. But also you can be the manager of your own business or your own fate in terms of, you know, the idea that you have. And so, you know, I can only applaud what you're doing. But as a last words, I'd like you to tell everybody where they can find all your details and what's next.
Sure.
Just in case we've got anyone that's interested in any of their kids. In fact, sorry, how easy is it to sign up to Ultra Education?
Yeah, absolutely. Before, I just want to comment on what you've just said around not young people not going into corporate. I think one of the lesser known issues around that is that, you know, you've been in corporate. There's a particular culture that you have to subscribe to if you want to exist in a corporate environment, and it often means that Black people cannot really be themselves. You know, we've got to dilute who we are. We've got to minimize our culture and how we think about things to fit into those environments. And my generation did it, but you know, that context switching means that sometimes people just forget about, you know, their roots and their culture, and you know, they lose a sense of their own identity. They make money
from imposter syndrome, which is something I spoke about the other day as well. Yes,
and I mean, imposter syndrome is rife. And so I just think that for the next generation, I don't want them to have to go through that. You know, if they go into a working environment or a culture that doesn't fit with their own, they should have the opportunity not to have to compromise and conform, right? And go off and do their own thing, or go off and find another work culture that suits them. But I just think that it isn't for everyone. And if it fits with your own values and your own culture, great. But if it doesn't, my generation had to conform and contort ourselves into that culture, right? And some of us made it out alive. Some of us, I know a lot of us, it did chip away at who we really were, and we couldn't be who we really were in those environments. Just can't. It just doesn't work, right? And I just don't think that's a reality that we want for the next generation. And I don't think the younger generation want to do that either. I think they're aware of it. They don't want to compromise.
They are very aware of it. We've got a young generation that's almost like a driving force at the moment. They are driving change, and it's massive. So we've got to applaud them for that and support them at the same time through this terror wave of violence that some of our young people are succumbing themselves to as well. If we could just change the mindset of some of those young people, we seriously would be something else. But that's another story to talk about that side.
Look, I mean, just to answer your question, you can find us at Ultra Education on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and now, you know, our interns have got us on TikTok. So we're easy to find. You can tap in with me at the Ultrapreneur across all socials. We get requests, as you can imagine, from parents, teachers, youth workers. I mean, many times a week, asking, you know, do we have any support for their young people? And luckily enough, we've got a number of programs which are running for different age groups across different boroughs that we can plug them into. We've got webinars, we've got events, we've got one-to-one tuition opportunities. And so there's always a way in which we can kind of work with kids. Parents advocate us into their schools. You know, they recommend us to work with and partner with other youth organizations. And, you know, we do our best to accommodate as much as we can. But our goal, you know, part of the issue I said earlier on with you was that a lot of these initiatives start and stop. Our goal is to always be able to provide some form of support, always, right? So if you come on a program that does last 16 weeks, there'll probably be something else coming up. There'll be an event, there'll be a webinar, there'll be a talk, there'll be a visit. You know, we're taking 10 of our entrepreneurs down to PwC at the end of next week. We've got a program running with Vivian Westwood coming up. We've got stuff happening, you know, all over the borough. So there's always something going on that we can plug young people into and just provide them with opportunities which are ongoing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Julian. I'm getting so many people on Mixcloud chat talking about how interested they are in this. Marcia, we'll put the link in the chat for you. If you give me 2 seconds, we'll do that afterwards once we cut to a break. We'll send out all the details, or you can find it on my Facebook page, HBQ 2020. Or if you follow Ultra Education, they are on Facebook also and on Instagram, and the website that I was also flashing up there on screen, but I will add the links. It's been, sorry, somebody else says, salute Mr. Hall, putting in some great works. How hopeful are you of the next generation's successes? And do you have any forebears that you can point to as your predecessors?
Very, very good English. Do you have any forebears? Oh, good question. Well, not really. No. You see, my not specific forebearers. You see, the thing about that question is, if there were people doing what I'm doing, I wouldn't have had to have done it. Right? I didn't do this because I kind of wanted to. I did it because I saw a problem that I started to care a lot about, that I wanted to solve. So without me seeing young people being passionate and asking questions about entrepreneurship, I wouldn't have known there was a problem, and therefore I wouldn't have done it. But the reason I didn't think about it, remember, is because I always thought somebody was solving this problem already, that they were already forebearers doing this. Now, I'm not the first person to introduce entrepreneurship to young people. I'm not. What we are probably one of the first to do is to introduce entrepreneurship to kids at such a young age, right?
Yeah.
That we will probably own. And we are probably the most consistent at it. It's the only thing we do. We've built a brand. We really push very, very hard to do it. And I think what's important is that we make it culturally relevant to the young people that we're working with, right? And that we have the lived experience to be able to understand those kids, understand those parents, understand their scenarios, and that we've made entrepreneurship accessible. We've made it fun. We've made it engaging. We've lowered the barriers to entry. We've done all of that. So salute to the other organizations who are out there, and there are many who have been doing it for decades. But what I would say is that no one organization can solve every problem, right? So the organizations who have been doing this for a long, long time, they've done great work, but even they can't do it all, right? And there's gaps all over the place. So all we've done is just come in and filled a gap. It was a big gap, but we filled it. And actually, a lot of those organizations who would be considered our forebearers, we work with, right? We like to play nicely with those in our sector. I think that's important. But actually, none of those organizations inspired me to do what I'm doing. It was the young people who inspired me to do what I'm doing. And where we can, we will partner with those organizations to just to do more work. I mean, in honesty, a lot of my heroes come from, the icons of music culture. So we're talking about, the Dr. Dre's and the P. Diddy's and the Russell Simmons and, the Steve Stouts and the icons of that world. They were my inspiration, because it was more about them coming from nothing and hustling to create the change and see the vision. So it was more about philosophically how they did what they did, which inspired me to do what I'm doing. So yeah, I hope that long-winded way of addressing that.
But we got the answer there. Thank you so much, Julian. We are sticking to such a time schedule today because there's an awards ceremony we're going to later, and I tend to always overrun. I talk far too much. I'd have carried on talking to you till 1:30, but I can see lots of people in the green room. I can see Judith Jacob in the background there doing her hair up and making her beautifying herself. I can see you, and I can see Izzie, and she has been quite what's the word? She's doing a lot of gesticulation in the background there. She's waving her hands and agreeing with a lot of stuff that you're saying there.
Yeah.
And she's excellent. She's a children's author, so she's coming on later on, but she's there with us. So we've got so many people that have said thank you. Said brilliant interview, great work, Julian. Love your passion and the positive message to our young ones. Really brilliant and informative interview. Someone's really interested in this, so I've shared your link also out there, so I'm sure you're going to get some people ringing up with some positive referrals there, but well done. That's all I can say. I love having people on that are doing stuff for our people, let alone not just our people but our young people as well. And it's not just about Black children, it's all children from all kinds of backgrounds that you are supporting and helping, which again is phenomenal. I salute you, Julian, entrepreneur.
Thank you, Alison. Thank you for having
so
me.
much. I'm going to be watching you with interest for sure. Thank you.
All right.
Well done, man. Well done, man.
Thank you, Martin.
Done. Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
All right,
Thank you.
And we'll talk again soon.
HPQ. Wow. That's fantastic. He's fantastic, isn't he? He's brilliant.
He is. I'm telling you, that children's show I saw was just like, I wish we had something like that when we were growing up. No. I sit there and I've got a big smile on my face and a tinge of sadness to think, why didn't we have something like this? And maybe there were some other smaller things that went on, but we wasn't encouraged to be entrepreneurs, and I think some parents did. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say all Black parents did not teach their kids to be individualists. But I think that wasn't for the majority. A lot of people came up, and as he said, as we've become adults, we've now got mental health issues because of who we've had to be in this corporate world. And as we grow older and we begin to understand and know ourselves, we're just like, well, hang on a minute, why am I being this person when I'm actually this person? And it's conflicting. And it's that conflict then that is causing all this noise. And a lot of people are now seeking, help. A lot of people are over it, like Judith, I'm sure she's like got confidence coming off the roof. She ain't got no issues. Just with heels, by the way, we'll talk about that. She ain't got no issues, but yeah, it's
you know what I liked? I like the fact that he's got all their website links up on his site and just promoting the children. Man. I think that's just fun.
I just want to share that again. I mean, even when I went into it and tells you all about them. It's a very informative website as well. And it shows you all the people that are linked in with them and all the awards that they've actually won. And yeah, if you just go into About and you go into their young CEOs, and there's a whole listing of them. And you know who this is, don't you? Amazing Angel.
Yes, that's right. I thought I recognised that smile. Yeah.
Yeah, Amazing Angel's in here. Our past, there she goes. She's a motivational speaker, author, and a model. And I mean, it's got everything in there, lots of people who are spoken word artists and motivational speakers. Imagine these young people are motivational speakers at the age of 10.
That's crazy.
Spoken word, but the fact that they're calling themselves kidpreneurs or ultrapreneurs, I think Amazing Angel said she was a kidpreneur. She was the one that I've heard that term from.
See that?
And I love Romeo in his lovely suit. Don't we love him there? But yes, he's got a website celebrating children and the businesses that they're actually doing. So, please support people. They've got a seafood delivery service. I think I might try that one for sure.
Do love a seafood.
Lab London. I'm going to try that one. And Nikki Mitch said referrals will be made ASAP. Fantastic.
Thanks, Nick.
Brilliant. So I have got my next guest in the green room. It's the wonderful Judith Jacob. I can't wait to have her on. I'm sure I'm just going to be giggling away during this interview. I'm going to try and make it as formal as possible. But this young lady, when I met her, honestly, I wanted her to sit next to me. It's almost like I want to take her home. That kind of personality. I want to take her home with me and have her with me 24 hours 7. She's just a dose of positivity and bright, shining light.
Definitely.
Honestly, she has got the biggest smile in the world. So, and I'll see you there, Judith. Let's play a track, and then we're going to bring you on in 5 minutes, Judith. Go get a cup of tea, beautify yourself a little bit more. And then after that, we will have the wonderful Izzie from Afroclectic Books. She's a children's author and has a wonderful range of children's books. And we're going to give some away as well. So we've got some prizes to give them away. But I'm going to leave it up to you for a second hot minute, Shuey, while I take a quick break. Can I take a quick break?
You take a break. Get yourself a drink. Get yourself a drink.
House Party Queen.
House Party Queen.
HPQ.
House Party Queen on GY Radio.
GY Radio with the House Party Queen. House Party Queen.
House Party Queen.
There's only one, and she is original. Only one. The House Party Queen. There's only one.
GY Radio.
So guys, if you're in the chat room, remember to click that share button. Share the link. Post it on one of your favourite WhatsApp groups. Share that link, guys. The Virtual Couch on a Sunday. Hosted by, of course, House Party Queen, a.k.a. Alison Thomas. Thank you to Julian. Excellent. Absolutely fantastic. Still to come, Judith, Jacob, and Izzie. More to follow on the show. Hi to my sister Audrey. Hi, sis. Remember, guys, if you're in that chat room, the VIP chat room, click that share button and share it to a friend.
Radio.
You are on the Virtual Couch with the House Party Queen.
On the Virtual Couch with House Party Queen.
On the Virtual Couch with House Party Queen.
Sunday afternoons, every third Sunday of the month. The Virtual Count hosted by House Party Queen. It's the May edition. Hi to Claire, hi Paula, hi Nikki, hi D69, hi to Marcia, Wendy, good afternoon. Donna, good afternoon to you. Hi to ETYS, good afternoon. Big Brown Eyes, good afternoon to you too. All those on the VIP chat, remember guys, click that link button and click that share button.
Radio.
You are on the Virtual Couch with the House Party Queen.
On the Virtual Couch with House Party Queen.
On the Virtual Couch with House Party Queen.
Virtual Couch on a Sunday afternoon, back with the House Party Queen. Welcome back, House Party. How you doing? You okay?
I'm fine, thank you very much. I've had my quick break. Thank you.
Yeah, your quick break. Yeah,
Oh, Julian Hall, he was excellent, wasn't he?
No, he was fantastic, man. Fantastic.
And I think I missed that message from you, Izzie. She said, Julian Hall, inspirational, agreed that children need not to ask permission to be excellent. They just need the opportunity. Yeah, excellent.
Definitely.
I agree with that totally.
The opportunities that is giving children, though, man. I love that, man. I love when somebody gives somebody an opportunity to do something. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
absolutely
like the
fantastic.
organisation, Proud and Gifted, I love what he does. He's always got
Yeah,
a big
man.
smile on his face whenever he's giving a child their award for what they've done. So yeah, excellent. So
Definitely.
excited. I love stuff like this. It puts a smile on my face, definitely, for a Sunday.
Feel good factor, definitely on a Sunday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's time to welcome our next guest, because she's been very, very patient in the green room, and she can't fix her hair no more. You know, it's perfect, darling. I'm sitting there watching you. We're watching you, you know. Let's bring her on. Let's bring this young lady on. There she is. There she is. Can we bring her onto the main screen? There she is in all her glorious splendor. How are you?
I'm rather fabulous, actually. Thank you for asking.
I love that. You know, I'm going to start using that. How are you? I'm fabulous. Can't you see that? Do I not resonate it to? Should be coming off. Oh my gosh. Great.
It's pretty dull, but it's nice and warm. I look naked now. I have got clothes on.
Stripping off slowly, but you're all right. You're all right. We can see that you're not. Now, I met you at the AWSL Awards a few weeks ago, and you were on our table. And as I said, you know, you had me in absolute stitches, and I think we were the last to leave that event also with our slightly inebriated selves, I would say. And
slightly,
and we were singing about shoes. Remember, I think you said you're stopping wearing heels, and I was like the heel queen saying I'm wearing them to die.
Yeah, I think that to themselves and stuck with the heel. Listen, you're not a woman, so you can shake your head as much as you like, Mr. Winter. You're not involved. You're not involved in this conversation. So just back off. Right.
Did you see how quickly you came out as well? I've never seen Shui run so quick. But sorry, Martin run so quick.
No, man, them.
But anyway, just to introduce you, there's not a lot of people that don't know you. I've got to say, we grew up with you on our screens. I mean, but you are also multi-talented. You've been on our screens for more than 30 years, maybe longer than that, but I'll stick to 30. You're doing stand-up comedy, you're a DJ, you present your own show, and you're a fitness instructor. Have I missed anything else off the list in terms of what you do?
Only a singer, but I'm a singer to myself, and I would love to share my voice to the world. The world may not be ready for my singing, but I would like to still share it with the world.
Can we see? I've not seen you sing. Can we find that anywhere? Because you know I'm going to be digging in the background in the meantime. Now that you've exposed that. But you first, people believe, I mean, people know you from No Problem. We're going to talk about, we've got to get that out the way. I'm sure you're asked about this all the time, because that's where we feel like we first came up on screens. But you actually came on TV before No Problem, right?
Yeah, way before No Problem.
Way before that. And you were actually in Grange Hill.
Yeah, I was what they called a child actor. I love saying that word. I was a child actor. It makes me sound like something else. But anyway, it's just nice to say. I was 13 when I started.
Do you want to see where you started in Grange Hill?
I didn't star in Grange Hill. I was in Grange Hill.
Sorry, when I meant in it, I've got a video of it. Have you seen it back quite recently?
It's my big moment. I'm a walk. Have you got it? I'm a what they call a walk on.
I'm going to show it to you right now. Let's see your walk-on appearance in Grange Hill. Let's see it. I had to play this bit because we all love this about Grange Hill, right? This tune.
And don't forget what the sergeant told you.
See that?
2 pages.
Literally, that was it. You did have just a walk-on part, so you're right. You didn't star in it.
So much people remember that I was in Grange Hill, and I'm like, well, how could you remember? I literally didn't even speak. But I did get a nice close up. It was nice, my little fro. But yeah,
Listen, you had a nice little throw going on there. My God. And you were how old there when you did Grange Hill?
oh God, because that probably 12 or something. Because my first speaking part was I was 13, so that was just a walk-on part.
Okay. And so then your big debut, was it actually No Problem? Was it No Problem that was your first TV debut?
13-year-old job, and I done this jumping beanbag was what it was ended up being called, but it was actually called slag bag before that. But because slag bag in those days was deemed too heavy, can you imagine that? That they couldn't have a title called slag bag because it seemed like no, BBC couldn't have that, so they changed it to jumping beanbag, and that was my first proper TV appearance. And I was a fan of the Osmonds. Imagine, not even the Jackson 5, but the Osmonds. So embarrassing. But anyway, that was the character.
Everyone loved the Osmonds, right? Jackson 5 and the Osmonds, and they were baited together anyway to try and.
Was the Jackson 5?
Say that again, sorry, my darling.
It was two camps. It was the Osmonds or the Jacksons 5, and if you were black, it was the Jacksons 5. It was never the Osmonds. They were the poor imitation of the Jackson 5.
Correct, but there was a little side switching there. Guilty pleasures. You kind of watched the Osmonds. You didn't admit it too much, but that's what you did.
I most definitely watched them, but I was a Jackson 5 fan.
But your mic keeps cutting out now and again, by the way, Judith.
Does it? I wonder if I put my headphones on, would it be better?
You might need to put your headphones on. That might make it easier instead of it cutting out all the time.
See, listen. Right, can you hear me?
Much better. Thank you very much. And you can hear me too. Great stuff. So I want to talk about No Problem just a little bit now. It's not the main feature of the interview, but just to talk about it just a little bit. It was a big part of your life, right?
And No Problem was, we devised it. It was Humphrey Barclay, who was the head of LWT at the time, came to us to devise something. We had an 8-week improvisational time. And Showplay, who now calls herself Kpobie, who played Terry, came in with all the characters, and she named everybody, and we improvised it, and that's how No Problem came about.
So tell me about some of the names, because you had obviously quite a controversial name that, black people know what Sensimilia is. How did we get away with that on TV to call you Sensimilia? I mean, the connotation was obviously known around sort of like the black people. The smokers knew what Sensimilia was, but maybe not all the white generation would know. But it was, why do they call you Sensimilia? What was the name around it?
Showplay was very clever. Toshiba, he was the pirate DJ, Toshiba. Bellamy.
Yes, after the Toshiba tape systems,
It's music. Bellamy lived in the garden. He was all about animals. We have Bellamy, so that's why he was called Bellamy. Angel, because Janet was the only sensible character in the whole family who looked at everybody, so she was the angel. Terry is a normal name, but sounds like a boy's name, girl's name, mixture of the both, Terry. And Sensimilia just is a beautiful name. Actually, I know many people who named their children Sensimilia after my character being called Sensimilia.
I named my cat Sensimilia, Sensi for short. I used to go around the house, Sensi, calling this cat Sensi.
On the road, Sensi.
So Terry, or the character that played Terry, had actually come up with all of the names of all the characters, and did you all co-write the scripts? Did you say, or?
No, we all improvised ideas. The writers was Mustafa Matura and Farouk Dondi. They wrote it up. We improvised it. They wrote it. So we worked ideas out together, and then once we'd done that, then they went off and made it make sense and put it all together and everything.
Okay. And how many seasons did you actually run for? No Problem.
We done 3 series. Is it 3? Yeah. By the 3rd series, both myself and Janet were pregnant. So we can only show one pregnancy because it felt like it was felt that we're going to be making it like all black women are all pregnant and young, and so we only had Janet allowed to show her pregnancy, whilst I had to hide my pregnancy. And it was the last episode was when we had Aswad in as our guest on the show. We just dance with it, and if I can see my belly poking out every time I did the dance, because I had to wear all baggy clothes, but my character did that anyway, so it sort of fit it. But yeah, we were all, so by the time we'd done the 3rd series, both of us were pregnant, and that was the ending of the show.
So they decided to end it because you ladies were pregnant and they just didn't want to rerun it, or they just thought the seasons had come to an end?
See, because we would have been done and dusted by the new series. So, but I think they just gave up on the idea, probably, more than likely. Because you've only had things like The Real McCoy that's run for 5 years. Like they've done episodes, 5 series of that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just want to it's been years since I watched No Problem, to be quite honest with you. So I just pulled when you first, I think this is the first episode when you first came into the screens also. I haven't gone back and watched this in years. Oh my gosh. I hope you can see it well. The video quality is not that great.
Tooting back. And all because the lady love magic. Have a nip sense, Celia. We are celebrating.
Stop firing. I have to strip them down on the hard shoulder.
Ain't no worry about that. Listen, just tell me what the icon drink is like. Who
made this?
Toshiba.
Nice, Toshiba. Toshiba, nice.
Well,
here, I'm flipping hungry.
Who is cooking then?
Well, don't look at me, mate.
I wasn't thinking of you. Yeah, we go on to the Castro fried chips anyway.
Would you prefer to eat a knuckle sandwich?
All right, then. I shall take you are what you eat. Yeah, that's why you look like a chicken. I shall ignore that. But it's about time this family starts eating some natural live food. Like what? You're weak, Jeremy. Hey, don't bring that girl mafia business into this house. We shall report you to the United Nations. Oh God, I didn't feed them this morning. Close the door on the bell, man.
I'll cook dinner.
Thank you. Okay. Let's just stop that. Thank you. Hold on 1 second. I now can't hear anyone talking. You've turned it down. 1 second for me, Judith, because we've just messed about with some sound here. 1 second for me. Talk for me. Let me see if I can hear you.
Definitely brought back memories, that did, I tell you.
Did that bring back memories for you?
Definitely, man. No problem. The good old days.
I remember actually watching that, and that was your first appearance. That was the first episode, I believe.
First episode. I can't tell from that because it's been such a long time ago. But all I know is Victor, and I was working with some talented people, and they're still my brothers and sisters today. Honestly.
Yeah, I asked that question to ask: are you still in touch with everybody from that cast? You still see them?
Except for Shope, because she's moved to America. But okay. Victor, Janet, myself, they're my brothers and my sister. So absolutely, we meet, we talk. Yeah.
And it's great that you guys developed that relationship from them that's lasted almost a lifetime, we would say. And even, we've got someone talking about bringing back so many childhood memories. It did. That was a staple part of our growing up, that show. That's why, it was a pleasure to have you on here. I know that you've done so many other things, and I don't want to discount any of the new stuff that you're doing, and we'll speak about that. But it was a staple of our life, and something that we can recount back to with fond memories.
People ask me what's my favorite job, that was my favorite job. I worked with my friends, we met each other, we played cards, and then we had to rehearse, and we're like, what? Oh yeah, we're here to do something else, not actually just to meet each other. So it's my best job. I had my bestest time working with those guys.
And then The Real McCoy was obviously the one of the next things you went on to. You was working with the comedians there, and there was some controversy about that because it stopped after a while, right? And there was no real reason for that show stopping, especially when the cast you had is, they've gone on to be just still maintaining the status quo in terms of their comedian status. But what happened to Real McCoy?
Good question. Nobody knows the answer to that. Nobody knows. It was still pulling in figures. It was still very funny. That we had people like Leo and Mira are excellent writers because they could write stuff that's political and funny. And the criteria was it had to be funny. And once they had that nailed, then it was in. And honestly, I just loved working with them. With some brilliant, brilliant work that was on there. Edgy. And that's what made it work, because just on the line, but it was funny. So it's funny, it's got to be in.
So let's go back to where your acting career first started, because around those times there, I don't know how parents felt about their children going into acting. It wasn't a job that really was going to bring in the money. How did your family feel when did you decide you wanted to be an actress, by the way?
All right, so I always wanted to be an actress as a child.
Forever. Yeah.
Simple things. But there wasn't any representation, a lot of it anyway. There was people like Carmen and Norman Beaton, but I didn't really see them as much. And then there was a program called Julia, which was a nurses series in America. Deanne Carroll starred in it. And I was like, oh my God, look, there's a black woman starring in a show, so I can technically do this as a job. My dad was like, no, you're going, because my dad made me think I was intelligent. And so I had this whole thing that I'm really intelligent, because I think if people tell you enough that you are, you believe you are. So my dad told me I was, and I was meant to go to university and to be the first that goes to, because to be a doctor or a lawyer, one of them two, our parents are very high. And, but I was acting all this time, getting jobs at school. And then I had to join Equity when I was young. And Equity then is not what it is now. Once you get past the age of 17, I think it was, if you wasn't a member of Equity, you couldn't get a work, but you couldn't get jobs if you weren't a member of Equity. So you got provisional, which was a red book, and if you've done 40 weeks of professional work, then you can become a professional, then you get your blue Equity card. So my mother had to pay yearly, which was about £13 a year, which sounds like nothing when we say that today.
But a lot back then.
A lot of money, considering my parents were juggling money all the time. And she said, no, this is what you want to do. I'll pay for it. The crux came at 17, because I was doing my A-levels, and it was a case of leaving school to do this series called Angels, which is a nurses series.
Yes.
Or I stay at school, finish my A-levels, because I was meant to go to university. So my dad said, no, you're staying to do your school, you're going to go to uni. My mum was like, no, you're leaving school, you're going to do what you want to do. My mum instilled this word if in me, which I say like it's my saying, but she doesn't like the word if, and she didn't want me to have if in my life. That if I did do the job, would it be no ifs, you're going to do it. Yeah. My mum died the night that my show, the first screening of Angels, my mother died the night of the screening, so she never got to see it.
Oh no.
The one who didn't want me to do it, I had this t-shirt that said Angels. My dad walked around with my t-shirt that said Angels into pubs, into the bookie shop. It's my dad, the same man who was telling me, but he was the proud dad walking around. My poor mum didn't even get to see it, but there's me dad going, bragging, oh, that's my girl, that's my girl.
That's because you're on TV. Back then, when you see a black person on TV, there wasn't few and far between. We could count them on our hands. So, of course, your dad will be the most proudest person ever. But, I mean, you talked about the jobs that you got. Was it fairly easy back then to get work? I mean, as a black person or a young black female, especially because we didn't have a lot of representation on screens that looked like you, of course.
Well, it felt like it at that time, because I think what happens is you get we don't get built on. So you'll get somebody will come in and they'll get work. I worked as a young person. I worked a lot. Your scripts, when you got them, you used to say black girl 1, black girl 2.
No,
there was no character.
No, it didn't. Oh my God.
Robber 1.
Did it have white girl 1 and white girl 2 as well?
They had a name.
No way.
Yeah.
So all the black people had no names, and
I
the
don't
white people
believe
had-
that. Can't believe that. No. Are you serious, Judith?
That was a lot what you got. Black girl 1, black girl 2. And then
Let me go and get a cup.
that changed up a bit. So we got, but yeah, I worked quite a lot for a long time because there wasn't that many of us in the business.
No.
I think it made it easier because there was a smaller pot of people to choose from. But now there is, because before, when I was working, you're right, there was just the idea of being an actress meant that you weren't going to really work because there wasn't many jobs around. That was the theory. That's why my dad didn't want me to do that. Now, there is a lot more of us that feels that we can be represented, that are in the business. And we've got what I call the young people that are doing a guerrilla warfare. They're not waiting on anybody.
Listen, the young people are just a different. As I said to you, they're a force to be reckoned with. They're not taking any rubbish. They're not taking it, and maybe the wrong way a good percentage of the time. But they're the force that they're driving through right now in terms of change.
They're making it, they're using social media. That's their time, their era. They're pushing it out on YouTube. They're doing their own stuff. And you can learn, I've learned a lot from the younger generation, how they've approached this business and how they want to do it.
Yeah, and I think, we need to you need to have a young person in your family when it comes to social media, especially when it comes to TikTok and Snapchat. I still can't get my head around how all that works. I can just flick through on the reels and that's it. But, you spoke about a little bit of racism you encountered and, naming you Black Girl 1 and Black Girl 2. You must have encountered a lot more racism than that, but you have such a positive energy. I can't see it. I can't see where it would have got to you. Did you ever let it get to you? Because that couldn't have been the worst that you went through. There must have been some more, scenarios where it weren't just Black Girl 1 or, they could have said names or something like that.
I'm too ignorant, right? Half the time I don't notice I'm being insulted. So is that me ringing or is it you?
I don't know what's ringing. Something's ringing.
Yeah. It's gone now.
Yeah. It's gone now.
So walk around in blinkers, so I don't notice. I have to see it later in my life. I go, wait a minute, were they insulting me? Just keep gone. So one of them was I was doing this job, and I swear I just didn't even notice it at the time. I'm doing this job, and we're sitting there, and everybody's talking about their fantasies and what they want. And so the producer went, well, my fantasy is to be lying on a hammock and having pickaninnies fan me. So I was the only Black girl there. They all turned and looked at me, and I'm like, why are you looking at me? And when I went home, they were all looking at me because the producer went, oh, she wants pickaninny fanning her. And they went, well, what did you say? I went, nothing. What do you mean? You said, how can you? Over my head. Pickaninnies, I didn't know what, there was no reference in my head to what a pickaninny was. To me, there was no reference. And it's only later in life I can tell the story because I realised I'm sitting there and not said a word, whilst every white person turned to look at me like, and I'm like, what?
But I think that a lot of us have done that throughout our work life, not said nothing through fear of changing up the status quo. They just stay quiet, don't say anything, and be a good little Black person almost, And the ones that did say stuff, you were aggressive.
Yeah.
You were arrogant, and it was almost too much for them. They couldn't deal with that kind of character, and it made them feel scared and threatened if you actually spoke up against what was happening with you. So, but as I said to you, you've got this positive energy that radiates out of you that sometimes you can't see the bad, which is either a good or a bad thing. Sometimes I don't know.
It's a good or a bad, and I don't know which is why that.
But I mean, the energy that you've got and the way that you're living life, it can't be too much sometimes not to always take notice of what's going on there or what people have said. And, you've got a good way of blinking out. Do you meditate at all? Do you do a lot of meditation? Are you quite spiritual?
I'd say probably more so in my life. I've become more spiritual. I've gone through phases when I thought I was going to be a nun, that I was
You're
then I was going
lying.
to be circumcised. Honest, can you believe me? No,
No.
That's funny my life, right? I was going to be a nun.
No. Why? I know you're messing around with me here. There's no way.
My culture was to be circumcised, so I was thinking about, because we don't know enough about our culture, so I thought I was going to get circumcised. Thank God I had so many people around me going, "Don't be stupid, don't be stupid," and so I've gone through different things, and then I thought I was Christian, and I've learned too much about myself to ever put that association in my mouth ever again. So yes, so spirituality, finding more about my Africanness is where I'm at. Yeah. Breathing is my meditation. I've got this whole thing about breathing in as much oxygen. I heard this somewhere. So every time I take things that I like, I use it. So you breathe as much oxygen as you can, hold your breath, and then exhale all of your air, and then hold it in. And I do that at night when I go to sleep, in the morning, and it's just brilliant.
And it's a calming method as well. That's what a lot of people do when you are manic. A lot of people that breathe and it calms you down. I don't know what it does to the body exactly. I've got a friend who's a fitness instructor, and she's absolutely brilliant at telling me about what all these bits and pieces do. And I'll be bringing her onto the show quite soon to discuss that. But yeah, breathing just gives you that kind of complete calmness sometimes that you actually need. And it's great that you do that. But, talking about your other acting, you said you was in No Problem, you was in Angels, you had a fleeting moment in Grange Hill with the Afro, and obviously the Real McCoy. So then EastEnders, right?
Mm.
So tell us how did EastEnders come about?
The producers of EastEnders were the producers of Angels, Tony Smith and Julian Smith and Tony Holland. They done Angels. So when they done EastEnders, they asked me, would I be interested in being in it? Aisha, my daughter, was 8 months old when they asked me if I would come in it. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. All right, let me think about it. And then a whole minute later, I went, yes. So
it's like the dream of dreams, isn't it, to get onto EastEnders, because it was the program. You've been on some iconic TV shows that we've kind of grown up with, from Angels, because I hadn't actually mentioned that, little moment in Grange Hill, and then obviously the Real McCoy, No Problem, and now the pinnacle was EastEnders that you started. And how did you find EastEnders?
It was great. I was brought in. There was a couple of other actresses who was also in Angels when I was in Angels. So there was like 3 of us that was from Angels in EastEnders. So it meant you knew some people already. I enjoyed myself in EastEnders. I had Gary Mack came in to play my brother, and Gary Mack is one talented man. So it was great to have him in. My daughter played my niece in it, so she came in, and because they were saying to me they were going to bring a 2-year-old in anyway, and they asked me if I'd bring my daughter in. And I remember how 2-year-olds can be a right pain in the ass. So if I had my own daughter, I can squeeze her and pinch her because my child.
When she's been out of order.
And also I was away all day, so I could get to spend some time with my child on the set. So I said, all right, bring her in. And Aisha, she had the best time. She would eat. She always act like she was never fed, that girl. She would eat all the cereal that she had there, like she'd had no food before she came there. She had been fed. And at the time we were, because I opened a place, an Asda store, and they gave me 12 bottles of champagne. So I started drinking. I'd stopped drinking before then. So I was drinking champagne. Anyway, so I used to give her a tiny little bit on a Sunday in her glass. So we were filming the wedding scene, and you could just hear a little voice going, I want champagne, I want champagne. This is all the Chinese asking.
Like, why is this girl asking for champagne? But in France, they give their children alcohol with their meals from a very, very young age. Yeah, it's standard in France for them to do that, and it educates children on having a meal with a little bit of alcohol. I mean, it's not, the children are not going out and getting absolutely slaughtered. It's appreciating how to appreciate wine with whatever you're eating. So, but I don't know.
Tiny bit of a glass just to wet the bottle, but she felt she was drinking alcohol, so it's great for her.
And I love the fact that you talk about that when you brought your daughter on so you can pinch or squeeze her. Most black people did that to their kids when they were in public. Because you couldn't beat them, the next thing was, that little twist, that little dig. Don't you dare do that. You shove them in a little corner and tell them off and hope that they would do some good.
We also had the look, right? That our parents just had to give us the look. And we'd know to stop the stripping this straight away. I had to give my daughter the look. She's like, why are you looking at me like that? What? It's the look. It's the look. What's the matter with you?
Do you not recognize it, woman? But how was, I mean, I know you, whether you had good or bad relationships, I don't want to get into all of that with the people on EastEnders, but the cast generally were a great cast that you appeared with. And again, did you get any, I don't want to talk about racism exactly, but I'm always interested to find out how black people how they were regarded in TV, and whether, in the back of it, it really was always there lingering in the background, or whether it was just fleeting moments here, there of ignorant people. Because we don't know what you had to endure. I know what I had to endure in the workplace, so I could only associate that with it probably being replicated on TV as well. And I've noticed some people had their mouth open when they talked about, Black Girl 1 and Black Girl 2. I'm hoping by the time they got to EastEnders, you weren't Black Girl 1 or Black Girl 2.
Way before that, they stopped that rubbish. Way before that. No, I did have a good time on EastEnders. There was a couple of incidents.
Tell us.
Made comments, but I didn't even have to do a thing. The other actors in there dealt with it beautifully, so that was fine. And then we had just a line in the script that just felt weird because it was discussing Gary Mack's character and going, I've always wondered why the palms of their hands are white when their backs, and it just felt like they were talking about a monkey. I just didn't feel comfortable with those lines. I wasn't in the scene, nothing to do with me. But Gary was in the scene, so I said to Gary, how do you feel about this scene? Do you feel comfortable with it? And he said, well, what do you want to... I said, well, I'm not happy. I want to speak to the producers and just say, can they change the line? But we need to know what our bottom line is, because if they say, no, they're not going to change it, do we go, okay? Or do we say, oh, well, what? But Gary went, whatever you want, Jude, I'll work with you. So I said, all right, so you're prepared to lose your job if they say they're not changing it? And he said, if that's where you want to go, that's where we go. So I went, okay. So I went out to Julian and said to her, look, I don't like the way that's being written. It sounds like they're talking about a monkey. Why does the palms of their hand look like that? And she went, huh, is it offensive, Judith? I said, yeah, I think it's offensive. And she went, no problem, it's gone. And then we built ourselves up to be able to have this conversation. It wasn't even a thing. So sometimes you just have to face it. I mean, it's taken me a long time to get to that point. But yeah. I've had my moments of reliving stuff in my head and wishing that I'd done something. So now I don't want it in my head anymore. I take it out of my head and deal with it. And whatever the consequences are, is the consequences. But you have to get to that stage of your life. And I got there eventually.
Yeah. And I'm glad that we're at a stage now where those sort of things hopefully have been eradicated, taken out. We see a lot more black people on TV and adverts. It's overkill in adverts now.
Love it.
I know, I love it too, but it's just like you can't put an advert on without seeing a black person in it or being the main part with their family, So it's great. It's a massive improvement. And we can only go from strength to strength now. There's a lot more TV shows where we're part of the shows and co-presenting or presenting or got our own stuff. So it can only get better. That's all I can say. But we've spoken about your acting, and after EastEnders, what happened after EastEnders, by the way? What did you go on to do then, or did you then start going into DJing or hosting, which is what you do as well?
That came later. What did I do after that? I tell you, I don't even remember what I'd done yesterday. No, Mum, what I'd done after EastEnders.
Probably did a few acting things.
I'm sure we done the McCoy after EastEnders.
Oh, it was after EastEnders. Okay. So EastEnders first, then the real McCoy for seasons. Okay.
Yeah, so we've done that. I'm also with a set of ladies, the BB crew, and we write, produce and direct our own stuff. And that is a really beautiful feeling to work with other actresses, other females, women that you trust, that you can get ideas out. And it came about because there was a group called The Posse, which was 8 male actors. And then Beverly, the woman that put us all together, she watched it and said, no, I want a girls' version. So she got hold of me because me and her both went to Anna Shear's together. That's where I done my training as a drama, Anna Shear's.
Yeah.
And she went to Anna Shear's. And then we got hold of some other actresses. Joanne Campbell is no longer in this world. Suzanne Packer, Suzette Llewellyn, Josephine Malcolm. And Janet Kay was part of our group as well. But every time we go a show together, that's when Janet's music career kicks off again. So I say, look, we've helped you. Every time we're going to do a show, that's when people want you to go to Japan, do this, do that. So she's now just an honour member of the BB crew because she's just too busy being a singer. So
amazing that she's still very busy up until this day. She's had a great career with her songs and obviously her acting too. So that's fantastic.
And she takes her work very seriously. Her voice, her looking after herself. She deserves it. And it's 45 years in the business she's celebrating this year.
Wow. We've got Sharky DJ saying, what is BB?
BB crew. What does it mean? It means lady.
You might probably mean, what does it stand for?
Yeah, it means lady in Swahili.
Oh, okay. Okay. And the funny thing is, I hope you'll listen to Izzie afterwards, because Izzie I've got from Afroclectic Books. And the reason why I've got her on, it's not just because she does children's books, because she's got some African sayings and Ghanaian symbolism all over in her books as well. Very, very interesting. But I won't, she's got her own separate interview after this. We won't speak about her too much here. But tell us all about, we're coming up to the end of the interview here shortly, but I want to know what you've been doing like now. Where can we find you? What are your hobbies now, or your jobs now? Is it just pure DJing and hosting? Are you going to go back into acting, or are you still acting? Okay, I know you do a lot. You do some stage work as well, don't you?
Doing lots of theatre performances. I've just finished doing a show called Tapestry that we've done at Milton Keynes. So I haven't stopped, and BB Crew are going to be performing in Brighton on the 29th of May. We're doing our show. We're going to be at the Windrush. The Windrush is happening in, when is it? June at the Hackney Empire. There's a whole host of us that's going to be on that. Curtis Walker, Eddie Nestor, I think they're hosting it. I know we're performing on the BB Crew. There's a whole host of people that's going to be on at the Windrush celebration. So that's happening in June. I am DJing on the 21st of May down at All Nations for my sister's birthday, Sarah, and I will be doing it again later on that. So I'm DJing, I'm doing my radio shows, I'm acting, I'm just, listen, in this business, we like to juggle some balls. What I haven't done yet is done my record. And when I do my record,
I want to hear this, I think you should just give us a little bit of a cappella or something, Judith.
No, you're not getting a cappella from me. I am waiting to do my song. And I have Janet and Carol doing the harmonies. And that would probably be the best thing on the song. But anyway, I'm going to go for it.
I think you should go for it. Go for it. As we've been talking about, we should be allowing people to follow their dreams, right? Follow your dreams.
Exactly. Victor's the only one that encourages me. He goes, go on, Judith, go for it. Just get some lessons.
I think you'd be brilliant. I can't wait. And you've got Nats here who's going crazy on Mixcloud here, saying she loves it. It's giving her goosebumps. And she says, juggle away, Queen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyway, listen. Thank you so much, Judith, for coming on with me today. Thank you. You've been amazing as usual. Where can we find you and what you're doing? Are you on Instagram?
I am. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, and I just use my name, Judith Jacob. You'll find me on Insta, Twitter, Facebook. I don't do Snapchat. I only joined TikTok to look at people's videos.
Same here. I just wanted to see the reels. I'm telling you, I've learned so much from TikTok and Facebook, from these reels. The things that people can do to fold clothes. Have you seen that one? The way that they fold clothes.
I've done, but I've also seen that dance, the 1 foot dance, and you're going to do the face.
Oh, yes. I've seen the 1 foot dance. I haven't quite managed. You done the 1 foot dance, Martin?
No, not yet. I have to teach you that one.
We'll try it. But anyway, Wendy says she's loving your positive energy, and you do irradiate so much positive energy. Honestly, I feel like you're like sunshine. I just smile. I feel like sunshine when you're around. Honestly, it's absolutely brilliant. And this lady does have natural positive energy. I was around her, and do you remember? I got the chair. You're coming to sit next to me. Actually, took her away from her friend, right? She came with a brethren. I was like, don't worry about her. You're coming to sit next to me.
Yeah, and then you told me to go when your friend came. Oh no, you can sit over there now because my friend is here.
They shift you, innit? You done your time. I had my use for you. It's time to go. But you've done an amazing hosting of there as well. That was fantastic. You've got that under your belt as well as one of your other many talents. But thank you, Judith. I'm going to give you back some time now. It's 2:00. You're very welcome to stay in the green room. Or if you had any, sorry, you were saying something that I didn't quite hear you.
No, I'm great. Thank you. Well, go on, Mr. Martin with the I and the water with the Y.
All I've got to say, you need to put your high heels on. That's all I'm saying to you. Nothing more.
I wish I still had that video, you know. I got to look for it.
I love it. She's not messing about. All those in the mixed cloud, Judith refuses to wear high heels no more. She didn't wear them all through lockdown.
To wear heels.
No, I'm only joking. You know, put on your flats, man. Whatever makes you comfortable, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you smile, do it. That's what I say.
Yeah. Makes you happy. Yeah. Whatever makes you happy. All right, that's me. Listen, thank you. It's fun. Take care, guys. Stay blessed.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you. Stay blessed, my darling. Queen.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. The vibe, man. The vibe.
She's so full of energy, isn't she?
I got some spare shoes actually in the shop. I might put one in the box for her actually.
I'm literally trying to find the video where she and I were talking right at the end in regards to shoes. I'll find it by the time you will come back on. Now we've got Izzie that's been waiting very patiently in the green room.
When you said just now, our next guest has been waiting very patiently, I thought, I'm sure she's supposed to be Judith, but it sounded like you was going to bring in Izzie. I thought, is it Izzie or is it Judith? I'm glad I got it right because I nearly brought in Izzie just now. You know what I mean? Fantastic, though. Absolutely fantastic. You going to have a quick break?
Yeah, we are. Thank you, Izzie, for being patient. Right, we're going to bring you on just at 2:15. So take a break, get a cup of tea, and get ready. I can't wait for you. Saving the best till last. That's what we're calling it.
I think we can bring Izzie in about 5 minutes. I think. I know what's going to happen, Ali. I know what's going to happen. What's going to happen. So yeah, let's play 5 minutes of music. You go and have yourself a cup of tea. Make yourself a quick drink. I'm going to play 5 music and have a little chat with my Mixcloud family. How we doing, Mixcloud? Are you guys good? What interview just now? What's an interview with Judith Jacob? That's just a part of it. You know, that's just a part of her journey just now, man. I learned some stuff. I didn't know she was in a Grange Hill, a little 2-minute segment there. But yeah, good on Judith Jacob. Been around for years doing her thing. And shouts to everybody on the Mixcloud. Remember, guys, click that share button. Share it to a friend. In around 5 minutes' time, we have Izzie live up on the stream.
House Party Queen.
House Party Queen. HPQ.
House Party Queen on GY Radio.
GY Radio with the House Party Queen. House Party Queen.
House Party Queen.
There's only one, and she is original. The House Party Queen.
On GY Radio.
HPQ on GY Radio.
Surrounded by a cloud of indecision and despair. Oh, you know I ought to be home, but my heart's not really there. I want another
Sunday afternoon. We're live on GY Radio, streaming over to Rex Radio. It's so relaxing on a Sunday. Isn't Sunday so relaxing? I do love a Sunday, I do. Especially after a hard night. So relaxing.
Pleasure that we share. Look to me, what you need, 'cause you know I'm always there. Feel the feelings disappear when we're alone and out of sight. Still in love ain't wrong. Holding me tonight, time for love. You know it's ready. You know it's time. Oh, with you, time for love.
Martin with an I. Winter with a Y. Martin Winter.
Gotta say big up to Sharky DJ working behind the scene as always. Ever working, ever hard working engineer. Sharky DJ always working behind the scene. Big up Sharky. Third Sunday of the month on the virtual couch with House Party Queen. There's only one. There's only one. We're actually running ahead of time. I can't believe it. We've got a tight schedule today. We're going to an awards ceremony today, actually. Fingers crossed. We'll get at least one. Got an engineer there, Sharky DJ. How we doing, Sharky? Making sure things are running neatly in the background.
Martin with an I. Winter with a Y. Martin Winter.
So guys, if you're in the chat room this afternoon, please click that share button and share it onto a friend. You are on the virtual couch with the House Party Queen.
On the virtual couch with House Party Queen.
On the virtual couch with House Party Queen.
On the virtual couch with the one and only House Party Queen. Welcome back for the third part of the show. The third and final part of the show. We're on a tight schedule today.
Are you proud of me?
We're on
Are you
time,
proud of me
aren't
this
we?
week? Are you very proud of me this week? Hold
I'm
on.
proud of you, Doc. I'm so proud of you.
DJ's just going to tell Sharky DJ to take down his. Thank you very much. Thank you. Right. So yes, are you proud of me?
So proud of you, House Party Queen, aka Alison Thomas. So proud of you.
Normally it doesn't run to time at all. I've been pretty bad, but as you said today, just to reiterate what Martin was saying. GY Radio, Random Wednesdays, and Miss L Vibes. 3 nominations for GY Radio. We're very, very super proud and hoping that at least one award that we can come away with. I'll be grateful for that.
Would be nice. But you know what? Yeah. It's just nice to be nominated, actually. You can't. It's just even nice to be nominated because remember the radio station will be running for a year plus. Random Wednesdays come from nowhere. Miss L Vibes have been doing her things for years, but it's just nice to be nominated and being respectful for the work that you're doing. So yeah, but you know what one I want though? There's one award that I want. I'm not going to say it right now, but there's one that one would that will be the cream for me. It's not Random Wednesdays. It's not Miss L Vibes. I won't say what it is.
I know the one you want, but it would and the reason why
be all of us. That will be a collective award for me. It'll be everybody. You know what I mean? So yeah, once again, guys in the chat room, please click that share button. Share it, post it in a WhatsApp group. We're on the third and final part of the show. House Party Queen, take it away.
Yeah, before I bring on Izzie, remember I threatened to show that video with Judith where we were
the
last in there. I've quickly got it. This is
Let's
like
have a look.
'It's all about comfort. All about comfort. No mash-up beef. No more corn. No more bunions. Why? For man? No. No, for yourself. You want corn? You want bunion? No.
That was our drunken selves after the LSL Awards. Now, in that video I showed you as well, you'll also see the difference between my teeth in there, and you realise why I don't like smiling. My teeth were a lot darker in there, and why I didn't like it. So I'm on this lovely teeth journey. So I hate sometimes watching videos like that, past videos of where I see it, they're not looking that great. Much better now, anyway.
Much better now.
So Nats, they haven't won yet. It's this evening, so you'll know later on or by Monday if Shoes start posting it everywhere on social media, which he will do.
You know me. You know me. I'll be there live tonight. It'll be nice. It'll be
anyway, let's bring on Izzie. Do you think it's time to bring on Izzie?
I think so, because she's been very, very patient. Very, very, very. Well, I'm gonna have to call her patient Izzie.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a nickname. Not being funny. There's been family members who say she's so patient.
You're very patient. No, it's lovely. It's good to be patient.
And you are, and you came into the green room from early and been listening and being proactively part of the show in the background there. I'm watching you.
Yeah, this show has been amazing. Julian Hall, I've already put it up there. He needs a knighthood. And the excellent and fabulous Judith. I actually learned that not only has she been, my brother was in Grange Hill and he was in EastEnders, but never at the same time as Judith. But that was just the mind blowing that, that she's had those experiences as well. And yeah, definitely No Problem was my favorite program alongside Desmond's. And Angels, my mum was a nurse, and Angels was the only TV hospital program that was allowed to be on in our house, because it didn't have them being stupid and lovey-dovey and all the, my mum, I'm paraphrasing my mum. It actually was like we were doing serious stuff in that program. The rest of it is all lovey. She didn't like Holby and all of these things before she passed away. So she would have been stoked if she'd been able to see Judith today.
And the worst thing is that most black women that came over were nurses, so it should have been quite poignant to feature the program full of black people, really. Should have been. And especially for the things that we've been involved in, it's a bit like I went to I think it was a London Transport Museum. I think it was an opening of them being, 160 years of being on the transport. I can't remember exactly the details. And I remember going in there and seeing lots of people in pictures. And I'm thinking, but it was black people that ran this,
yes,
in terms of being the workers. And I didn't see enough representation of that. That was my only disappointment of the things that we've been involved in. And so this is one of the reasons why I've put onto the virtual couch, is to get to find out all of the black people that are doing things in the community that otherwise we don't really get exposed to. The minefield of social media is huge. You could look at one thing one day and think, I'll come back tomorrow. And by the time you come back tomorrow, there's about 40 other things on that list. And there's always, I didn't realize us as a nation are doing so much out there. And so it's amazing to have a platform like this where I can come on and speak to you and be blown away every time I do this show by the amazing feats that, or the amazing energies I have for the people that come on the show. Now, I also met you at the AWSL Awards and we got into a little conversation, and hence the reason why you're here, because you are an author amongst many, many things. So you want to introduce yourself. You're coming back to the show because there's another side to you, obviously, that we want to talk about that's even more interesting, and I'm sure a lot of people will be interested in, and we'll talk about that toward the end. But let's introduce yourself, Izzie, and your range of books, and we'll talk about that a little bit more.
Sure. So I have many guises, but I'm here today in my guise as an author. I am the author of 5 children's books, The Adventures of Adjoa Fodwa and The Adventures of Kwesi Terrier. Books loosely based on my children growing up. My daughter's about to be 28, but when she was 3, when she was coming home from school, as you mentioned before, the Peters and Janes, the all those books that even Peppa Pig kind of books, she couldn't see herself. So we would turn her stories of the things that she'd do during the day into little stories that I'd read to her at night. And so when we fast forward, she has my grandchildren. And so it was an opportunity to actually publish them or to get them. Well, actually, I wasn't originally going to publish any books. All I was going to do is just put the books together and say, there you go. My grandchildren can know what their mum was like when she was little.
Yeah.
But encouraged by my children, I have published them. I've now got 5, and there's a few sitting there waiting to get illustrated and done and stuff. So it's been an exciting journey, and all since 2019 when my first grandchild was born. And stuff.
So is that what gave you said you know encouragement by your children to write these because she didn't see any representation? That's did you say you wrote them with a view to be published or just to write?
No, I wrote them as bedtime stories so that they could hear about themselves in a way that they weren't being able to read about themselves. So and to give you a bit more of that context, my husband and I, we used to scour shops for Black kids books at the time, and the only way we would get them, he was a journalist and is now more of a music publisher, but whenever he would go to trips to either Ghana, America, or Jamaica, he would always bring books back, because we have this thing about for every toy you want to have a book. So he would go and buy the books from Jamaica, he would buy books in Ghana, he would buy books in America, Black children's books, and we not only would we read them, we would record them so that we could have a night off every so often, so that we could just tapes. We would record them and try to do funky voices so that they could hear them over as they were going to sleep. So they weren't written in a way that they should have been illustrated or published. It just was something that sort of grew into an aspiration, I guess, over time.
Okay, and your books are, when you sent them to me and I read through them, and obviously been reading through Instagram, and I love them. Just the illustration that you've got in them, along with just the clarity of words you've got, and then all the bits at the background that we're going to talk about afterwards. You give so much information in here, lots of symbolism, also traditional African symbolism. And so obviously you wrote the books to give your children an idea of seeing things about themselves. What about the rest of the stuff that you started to include, like Adinka symbols and some of the Ghanaian names? What made you have that in your book? Because it's a little bit different. I haven't seen anything like this at all in the book.
So I am actually Ghanaian, although I don't look it by most people's standards. I'm of Ghanaian heritage. I grew up here. So the first thing you I say this with caution. I guess until the age of 2, my parents would always speak to us, 2, 3. They would always speak to us in our language, which is, mine is Ga, my husband's is Tree. And that's what sort of reflected in the books. But when I got to school, I lost my language and all that, and so that comes with a sense of belonging and all of those kind of things. And when we would go to Ghana, which, given that we're a family of 6 and it's not always the most affordable to be able to get to Ghana, it becomes one of those things that that sense of belonging here and that sense of belonging there can be quite different. And language is a key and a very important thing. I mean, I would go to family functions here. You need to learn to speak Ga. I can understand it for the most part, especially if somebody's cussing me, I can understand it. But that sense of being able to speak it, or to speak it with confidence, because again, as a teenager or a kid growing up, and you try to speak your languages and everybody's laughing at you because of the pronounce, that can put you off. Well, that's how it was back in the day. It's not so much like that now. So that issue with having a sense of belonging, and also with all the other things you get taught, as you've spoken about before, we always have to have permission to do things when it's working, everything else. So for me, being able to include my heritage in the books, from the kente on the side to having Adinkra symbols, which I know some people might say, oh, you're being a bit funny by linking them as emojis, but actually they're all based on proverbs. They're all based in spirituality. And you can take any one of them and claim that. Most people will, like my earrings, Jinyami is God alone, but that's about faith and spirituality. You can do all things through that type of thing. So there's a proverb out there, there's an Adinkra symbol out there that will resonate with everybody. I include the day names as well, because I want the children to grow with the book and be able to identify themselves and read the book as whatever day name they might have.
And I don't know if you've got me up on the main screen, and I wish I'd have got this up on a big screen or something, but her books are this, oh gosh, I think I've got too much light coming in to show it, and the illustration on it is just amazing in the books. You can't see this on my screen, by the way, because of my green screen. It's not showing very well. Let's mess about with some light here, and let's come up a little bit more. But and then, like I said, yeah, you've got yours. Let's bring yours up on camera. Let's bring you up on the main screen. There we go. And if we go to the page where you've got about, let's have a look. You spoke about the symbols. Okay, so you've got Adinka symbols in there. And in fact, you don't have to do that because I've got something special on the screen for you. Let me show you on the screen. Yeah, I've pulled some stuff for you. Let's share this. Shuri, can you just put that? That's it. Thank you very, very much. Let's just take this off. So there, these are you're talking about your 4 books there, The Adventures of Adjua. I don't want to pronounce the names because my Ghanaian is not that great. Sorry. I'll let you pronounce it. What's the names? It's Adjua
Fodwa and Kwesi Terrier.
Okay. And in the books, as I said, you had some Adinkra symbols, which you said lots of people can identify with. So I've pulled this from one of the books. Do you want to go through some of these? Because what you'll find in the book also is that Izzie uses symbolism throughout the books as well. You'll see tinges of some of these symbols that we're talking about throughout the book, which makes it even more exceptional. But tell us about some of these symbols that we see in the book.
So in Ghana and across Ghana, what you will find is that houses, people use these Adinkra symbols in cloth. So if you've ever seen somebody with traditional clothing, what we call kaba, top and bottom, skirts and stuff.
Yeah.
So they can be used for weddings, sometimes more often funerals. They'll be put on people's front doors as signs of welcome. And they're literally a bit like how the Chinese have their symbols. They're literally to call to, they're like affirmations. They call to you what you want. So even if you've had a struggle and for instance, the first one, those led by the love always end up in the right place. So if for me, do good and good will follow you. So you can liken it to so many of the other things. And again, affirmations. If people have affirmations and you're calling positivity to yourself, being able to be. So I think of entrepreneurship. Denchem is being an entrepreneur. Being adaptable, being clever, being able to go from one situation to another. Again, talks about resilience as well. Again, Intesis is like just being collaborative, just being able to work with other people. So community, all of these things are the type of things you want our children to grow up with and be able to walk in those places. And even if they do have hardships, there'll be something in the back of their heads that will say to them, I can do this, or I can get through this. And so having them throughout the book is it again talks to that sense of belonging for me. It's about how we make sure our children can see themselves. My quote with the books is representation matters, and making sure that every Adwa in her school or every Kwesi in his school can see themselves, can know that they count. Julian is a great example of being able to make sure that children aren't just held by a curriculum that's actually trained to make you go one way or another. You know, I work in higher education as my day job as an equity and inclusion practitioner. And the thing is, I've already been saying to colleagues who think it's okay to teach a curriculum that's not inclusive, that these young people are paying for the opportunity to come here, and they will tell you about yourself if something's not correct. They're not afraid. And actually, I'll go back to Black Lives Matters with that. In my day-to-day job, I was going to a lot of conversations where students were talking finally having that conversation about race. And even with all the evidence that we put in front of people, people can choose not to see racism. And they can choose to say, bring me the evidence. And there was many a time, somebody actually once said to me, well, because it's your job, it's you should be coming and telling us your lived experience all the time. And I got tired and I said, I'm not doing it anymore. I will tell you, it's not my job to keep, just because my job title is equity and inclusion does not mean that I need to. There is enough evidence out there. How many more meetings do I need to tell you about, or come into a room of all white faces and tell you my lived experience so that you can dismiss it? I'm not doing that anymore. There's an education that you need to get. Your students are giving you that education. I've given you some of that education, but they are paying you. And if they stop coming, this whole instance of it really does become this, I'm paying you, but I'm not paying you to insult me kind of thing.
Correct.
So that's where this is important to me. This is why young people being able to speak up. There is a perception that young people coming into any form of higher education or any education comes from a background where we are uneducated. The elders are uneducated. My daughter got kicked out of her history class. And
why did she get kicked out of her history class?
In the history class, she did her homework. She made the comment that her queen was married to her cousin. He's a distant cousin, but he was her cousin. She got kicked out of the class for being rude. But in the way that the teacher told her that that's not true, and she provided the evidence. The embarrassment was that the rest of the class could see the teacher putting her down instead of taking her to one side and saying, oh, you may not. It wasn't not correct. It's just that it wasn't correct to the teacher. And I was a school governor, so I've been in places where this talking at our children instead of having a conversation with our children has been a real problem for me. And so I always have to ask, who is in the room when you make decisions about something? And I mean what they look like, because we are not always in those rooms. And I try to be in those rooms to be that voice of reason.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I worked in a school as well, where I worked as a SEN. That's it, children with difficulties. And quite often in the school, you'll see which child was being excluded or in that room where they're being naughty. And 99% of them were Black children. I mean, it was Forest Hill boys, so it was quite a Black area, and the school was heavily populated with Black children. And it was my first experience in a classroom after being in a classroom, like God knows how many years ago. I'm not going to name my age here, but it was more than 40 years ago now. And sitting down in a classroom and seeing kids shouted at every day, all day, I just thought, no wonder you've got a bunch of angry kids. And I get the teachers as well. They've got to sit in a classroom, 30 children to try and teach and command attention and respect. And the ones that can't learn are always going to be the ones that are going to not get involved or ensure that the class is disrupted. And that's what you've got to mitigate for as well. And you come in as a teacher to support a student in the class, and you realize that there's about 10 of them that want help. Miss, can you help me? Miss, can you help me? And then you're told you can't help everyone. It's for the children that require SEN. And I'm thinking, I can't come in here and not help the rest of them if they're not understanding. The pace of the class goes too quickly that they can't always pick up. And then they're shouted at and told to be quiet. So it's between a rock and a hard place in those kind of teaching establishments with classes of those sizes, and it's not changing. It's not changing.
But I'd also say that there are some intelligent children who are being left by the wayside, because when you do equity and inclusion, you definitely have to do the fostering and recognition of difference. But there's no capacity or space to recognize and do that. Now, if in the workplace we are supposed to recognize people's differing abilities, we make reasonable adjustments for people, whether it's on the grounds and diagnosed or undiagnosed, because I also worked in mental health before I went into higher education. There is something about being able to make things person-centered. There was a time in the NHS when we used to say person-centered care.
Yeah.
Same about education, needs to be person or student-led, pupil-focused. Meet them where their strengths are. But when you, like you said, have got class sizes of 30 odd, you've got the brightest ones not needing attention, so that you've got the children who really do need the time to just get that click, or actually make sure that the tools you are using are accessible. Look, there was no I'll show my age. There was no whiteboard. There was blackboard and chalk when I was at school. School, I'm so old that I remember that there was only one computer when I left school. So all of my learning about computers happened well after, and even slightly well after I was in college too. So it's so for me, you can have all the tools and all the resources on the planet, but if you don't take the time to meet the students where they are, you're going to still continue to lose them. So it has to be person-centered. It has to be child. So this is why what Julian Hall was talking about in relation to making your children entrepreneurs, they're going to have to learn how to thrive and strive in many different ways.
I know, and you know, the curriculum is the biggest bugbear to me and what's on it, and you know, the pushing of the LGBTQ and the trans agenda before everything else is, you know, I've got no objections to it whatsoever. I do have an objection to it being taught in school. I'm lying, I really do. I think children are too young to learn about all these things, and I think up until the age of 13 they're ever changing. You don't know what you are. Your body is still evolving. You're going through puberty and adolescence at the same time, and you're saying to me that these kids can make lucid decisions about who they want to be, and then we're forcing that agenda to them as well. By the way, did you know you can be a boy if you want to be? There you go ahead. And before you know it, it's like, yeah, I do. I'm a tomboy, so therefore I am a boy. That's what I want to be, and that's it. I was a tomboy. I didn't want to wear a skirt or a dress. You couldn't catch me in one of those for years.
I'm also interested in this word adultification, because suddenly that abuse is abuse to me. It doesn't matter what it looks like, but when you use words like that, why do we need that word all of a sudden? Is that to justify what happened to child Q or any other black child in these spaces? And agree, I don't know what. I have no problems with people being the orientation that they want to be, but I do want to understand why children just can't be children and just develop and grow in a natural way, why they have to be steered in a you know,
that's the correct word you're using there. They are being steered, yeah.
You know, and the fact that you are excluding parents from the conversation as well. You know, the inability for, you know, before, if you were sending your child to a church-based school and they were going to do, or even just generally sex education, when my kids were at school, was a question of, we are going to, a polite mannered society, we are going to run a number of these sessions, and you know, we need your permission. They're removing the permission. So now, unless you ask a question, you may not know that your child is being given this education, you know, without your consent. So you remove the power of the parent. And then when children go off the rails and you want to say that a particular group are killing themselves, there was no parents at home. But at what point did you treat them? Because I always say, when my kids were in primary school, I was in 24/7. I could do it. I could, PTA, go in and have the conversation with it. They all knew my email. They knew my information. If my child was playing up, you call me first. You call my husband first. You call my mother first. And one of us will be there. There's no excuse not to be in touch with us. Then you get to secondary school. And it's a really different dynamic, really different conversation. It's partly why I became a governor, because I also didn't see a lot of Black governors. And given the job that I do, being able to go in and say, what does this look like? What's your safeguarding on this? And again, sometimes they call you in because they haven't got one. They haven't got the Black person. And we're not all a homogenous group, So even if you do have some, we all have to, in the same way you have 6 or 7 white males, which is my experience, compared to having 2 Black women, and one Asian man on our thing. We all come with different perspectives and we make it richer. So I always do that. Who's in the room when some of these decisions were being made to do slavery and have slave auctions in some of the schools?
I just still think that there's a level of, I don't know if it's ignorance or just
not ignorance.
It's not ignorance, is it? Certain things that happen, you just think, who was in the room when you made that decision? A bit like what happened with Henny's with the boy, the Black kid there, and then the parents saying, well, we didn't see it in that way. Oh, come on. You were just
but even regardless, the thing is, even with regardless of the parents, we don't know what their situation. Who was sense checking it before you did that advert? What was your cultural competence and cultural awareness?
But they don't have people teams for that. That's what I mean. We have diversity officers now in companies, and still things don't happen. And I've mentioned this before. I worked for HSBC, and I remember it came to Black. What's it called? Black History Month. And, we did everything on LGBTQ Day. The roads were painted in rainbow colors. The logos on all of our apps were changing into rainbows. And I thought, great, the day's coming up. I'm looking forward to see these apps going black, the roads going black, and our office taking out all our boardrooms to have talks. And what did they do? They showed some videos and some films, some usual a black film about something, and something about athletes and football. And I was bitterly disappointed to have kicked up such a fuss. And my last workplace were the same. They waited until November the 1st to send something out about Black History Month. By then I had to tackle them. I said, this is not good enough. No way. Oh, we were busy. Well, why didn't you ask for help? Well, we've got it in a channel. Well, I didn't know the channel existed. Why have you not said? Because it's the first thing I do when I go to companies is hunt out the channels that are relevant to me. One of those has to be a Black channel. Every company has to have one. Otherwise, I'm asking the question, where is it? Why don't you have one? I'll jump on board and help get one.
But even more importantly, can I set it up, and how much money will you give me? Because in my role now, that's how but again, we are intersectional. It's not just, I'm not just going to come in a room as just this Black woman. I'm going to come with all of me. So if I have a disability, if I have a faith, if I have a, if I've got my children on my back, I come with all of that. So we also need to think about ourselves more because everybody will like to put us into boxes, and especially as we, when we are not as academic in very academic places, you're always striving, and working towards the thriving. You're always learning how to have the conversations in a way that makes sure that people you're bringing everybody on an inclusive journey with you, and you challenge. You challenge. You have to get to a certain level so that you can challenge that. But I guess my books, talking about with Julian talking about this, because I'm the daughter of a nurse. I don't know any nurses who didn't have it. Well, I didn't know any black nurses who didn't have a side hustle. So I grew up with my mum and my aunties, and we all had
Always
side
second jobs,
hustles.
cleaning, normally.
Yeah,
Cooking or cleaning.
Absolutely. Not
Sewing.
even so. Sewing, yes, that was one. So I sew, I make jewelry, I do the books. I help my husband with his company, music publishing company. You know, if I'm at a family function, I will help with the food and what have you know, in any way I can. That's one way of being able to bring your whole self to a space, you know, and we're not afraid to pick up and learn new things. I'm not on Snapchat, I'm not allowed. But TikTok, Etsy, or you know, all of those other, or Instagram, you know, I'm sort of open to the opportunities. And that's all because everything has had to be a bit of a side hustle. So I definitely wish Julian had been around when I was a kid. But actually, I sort of think I'm a manifestation of, imagine that these children in 30, 40, 50 years' time are able to come on a show like this and say, I started here.
Got some future leaders there for sure, who's going to change the narrative completely. And I'm looking forward to that. That's the thing as well. I'm not just jealous thinking I didn't have this. I'm sitting down, rubbing my hands thinking I cannot wait for this generation of young people, especially the ones that are, you know, positive and are looking to make changes, because they are the key drivers right now. They've got the driving seat, and they just got to just prepare themselves for that ride. But yeah, with them. But just coming back to one of the things you said, Nats, thank you so much for being so active in the chat, Nats. She said, especially coming from the West Indies, our parents came to the UK with mad skills. I don't know what it is about the West Indies and being able to be skillful, okay, and just learning anything. But our kids don't have that, you know, to be able to pick up something and make something out of it. And my mum used to have someone in the house. He could weave baskets. You could bring a bike with nothing on it, and he'd make a bike back again through just bits that he's picked up and found. And so, yeah, that's how skillful they were. And some of those are not passed on to our generation at the moment. No. Everything is social media, and that's what we don't know, and that's what they know. So I suppose it's time, really.
But the positive and the negative of social media is that our children will use that as their music, their news, where they learn things from, you know. So at what point does the curriculum in schools become obsolete? Because they're learning the good and the bad of everything on social media. And it's not that we as parents aren't watching what they're watching. It's that the capacity to see everything that they can see. You know, how much can you block your child? You can block everything. You could potentially block everything in your house that your child could see, and then they go outside somewhere. Because my thing with everything is my children were my darling ages, and then I sent them to school, and then that's when they, you know, you love it. Everybody cracks the joke about, oh yes, you have this whole time up to 3 that you mold them, and you continue to mold them, but then the switch at what they come back with, when the first time you had to look sideways at your child was like, because somebody said something to them at school that does not sit or resonate with your culture or your behavior or however you want to bring them up. And it's how do you juggle that, you know?
Do you remember, I don't know, and a lot of people can resonate with this, that, you know, as youngsters, you know, we were taught, you know, by our parents, and we were reprimanded by our parents in the many ways that we were. And then you'd go to your white friend's house and see how they talk to their parents, and you'd sit there with your mum. And some of us were brave enough to go chuck it and try it at home after what we saw at our white friend's house. We're going to be a face up. What do you mean? No. It just didn't work.
I'm going to apologize.
So many of us that did that. Watch how some of these white kids spoke to their parents, and we were like, I'd sit there going, I'm like, oh my God, how they get away with that? My mum would punch me in my mouth straight away as well. But they weren't violent.
No.
Manners and morals were big in those days there. You weren't allowed to embarrass them out.
Yeah, I'm going to apologize, because even the other day, the 3 kids, they're like, you taught us manners. You taught us manners to the point of silly, mum. So we will go on the bus or the tube or what have you, and we'll give up our seat, and we'll be all, you know. My daughter to this day, she's at work at the moment. Anytime she meets somebody, she will say, "Thank you, have a nice day." 19, and she busts that all the time. And I just have to look at her. I told them, don't talk to strangers. They say to me, Mum, you tell us don't talk to strangers, but anytime you're on the road, you're talking for hours to somebody you don't know at the bus stop. Conflicting messages. But I say it to say, the reason I say this is we teach our children manners. And it only and my children came back to me and said, you taught us all these manners, but we're living in a mannerless world.
I'm going to stop you right there for a second, because I've got something that I want to show everybody. Now, you touched upon a subject there, and something came up this week that's gone a bit viral with something happening in my hometown of South Norwood. And this is a pack mentality, and this is how we don't want our children, because I was embarrassed to watch this, and unfortunately this contains a little bit of violence, people, so I'm going to put a warning out on this right now. It contains a knife. You can't see it too well, but you'll get the gist of what's going on here. Now, this is what happened in South Norwood today with a group of school kids. Just watch this.
Oh shit! No, fam.
So those that couldn't watch the video properly, basically there was a pack of school kids. It looked like there was a 40-year-old black woman. She looked like apparently she's got mental health issues. I don't know how she got in the pack of this circle of these kids, what they were saying, who goaded who. But all I know is that you see kids throwing things at her, getting their drink, throwing it at her, pushing her around, kicking her. And then she walks over to this young light-skinned chap. She slaps him. He pulls out a knife and immediately stabs her. Just goes up to her and starts stabbing her because she slapped him. There looked like there was a teacher there as well. There was a tall white guy there. I don't know if he was a teacher, a passerby, or whatever, that he could intervene with these pack of kids. But I mean, when I watched that, I was devastated. I just thought, not just for the boy that pulled out the knife, but the fact that the other kids were around there throwing stuff at this woman and treating a 40-year-old woman like this. That shows me that you've got no respect for your aunties, your sisters, your mother, nobody. And no one person stopped and said, let's not do this. The only good thing about was his friend pulled him away before that boy did some more damage and put himself away for the rest of his life. Because at the moment, he's 15 years old. She was stabbed and uninjured, and he's not going to get anything apart from a proper telling off or a caution, or go to some yacht services for a little while and probably get suspended from his school.
Yeah.
And it's you know, it made me very, 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 very sad to see the sorry state of affairs. Yeah. Our youths are not afraid. You're correct, Nikki. They are fearless, and they don't really care what's happening to them. And I think the unfortunate thing is that under the age of 15, there's not much you can do with them in terms of, you know, even when they go to a police station, unless it's murder or manslaughter or some kind of arms or weapons or guns, nothing much will be done. I mean, this boy had a knife. Hopefully they'll find him. It'd be quite easy to find him through the schools, and we'll see what's going to be done. Will it stop him from doing it again? I don't know, but he definitely needs a whole load of authorities around him to steer him away from the path that it looks like he's going to go on.
But I've now seen that a few times. It makes me emotional every time.
Yeah.
And before, so I worked in a project called multi-systemic therapy, which aimed to work with families like that young man's, to keep them out of care and custody. When I worked on that project, it was expected that the majority of the children who would come through the door would be black. I think we only had 2 black families. And what you would find is that there was an underlying undiagnosed, what we would class as a mental a disability. So it would be something like ADHD, ASD, any of those, slightly autistic, any of those things, because they again have gone unnoticed or undiagnosed. When the child expresses themselves or lack of expression of self, goes straight down a different route.
And it's amazing how much of our children are starting to be diagnosed with ADHD, ADD, and all these other factors that are coming out.
But we don't get the talking therapies first. We don't get this. They don't get CBT. They go straight to that without actually looking at the context of why or how. Some of the. I'm not excusing anybody who does any of those things, but there are so many of these children hurt people. Hurt people. You don't know the situations that they're living, but no child at that age of 15 should be walking around with a blade that big and not go undetected.
Did you draw it out of his glasses and not injure himself? This is what I'm saying to you. So I don't know.
And when you've got schools with police officers wanting to get girls strip search and metal detectors and all this because they want us to adopt almost an American system of education, so we vilify the children before they've even finished school. What do we do?
It's a hard subject and a hard question, of one of which requires more talking.
It does.
But we're wrapping up to a time. I'm keeping to a strict time schedule today. But you know what, Izzie, you are coming back on, and you're coming back on with your hubby as well. So we're going to do another double bill, actually, with your hubby's business, and we'll bring you back on to continue these conversations. I don't think we talked enough about your books. We started going into the and got really excited about that. But yes, as Nat says, yes, check the diet. Children have too much sugar and no real food for starters, leading to serious childhood diseases. I think so as well. We don't know what's in our food anymore. We're eating nonsense, and even when we think we're eating healthily, we're not. There's just so much that we can't account for in our food. I feel like we should be just having a farm in our own back garden and growing our own chickens and vegetables and everything, just to ensure that we know what's on it. And in this day and age, sometimes I'm just afraid to eat now. I'm afraid to eat at restaurants or places because you just don't know where the food is coming from, what they're doing to it, and how it actually affects you. So, nutrition is the key word of the day as well. Start looking into what goes into your bodies, how it fuels it, especially for us that are getting older, and we need to make sure that we maintain this whole status quo and this good looks that we're all blessed with right now. But just as last words, your books, where can we find them?
So I have a website called Afroclectic.com. They are also available on Etsy via Afroclectic. You can get them on Amazon as ebooks and as paperbacks as well. If you search Kpobie-Mensah, my surname, because then that lists all of them. They're available in Waterstones, W.H. Smith, and all of that, but you'd have to do that sort of get them online. But yeah, I've tried to make them as available as possible in lots of places. I'm trying to do a lot more to get them into schools and libraries. So I've done a few like library reading sessions and so on, and a few reading, virtually in schools and stuff. I'm going to be doing the Black British Book Festival in Birmingham on the 4th of June. I'm also going to be going to be part of the Cocoa Fest Kids Festival, which is they've got a date in August, 14th of August and the 2nd of October. And I've still, because everything happened in lockdown, I've still to try and do some sort of real proper launch event for my book. So the latest two, I've now got 5 books since we spoke.
Oh,
wow. So the last book is now Kwesi's first football match. I want to give a big shout out to Leanne Armstrong, who's the lady who's illustrated all my books. She's actually a good friend of my niece.
Massive shout out to her. Tell her they're fabulous.
It's so important to find somebody who gets you in your space, and to be able to have those conversations to tweak where it needs to be tweaked so that the representation really does come across to the best
And
of
it
its
really does.
ability.
And it's just unfortunate I couldn't have like a walk-in video of showing you how this book looks, and the illustrations that are in the book. They are so clear. So, I mean, kids would love this as well. And like I said, I love the fact that you put about the symbols. You've put about the days of the week as well, and explain naming the girl's name and the boy's name relevant to the days of the week also. So, you know, they're learning. They're not just learning to read. They're learning about their heritage and where they're coming from and what's important also, not just Peter and Jane, which is what we grew up with.
Or being, you know, there's a statistic out there that there are more animal characters. People favor animal characters rather than Black or Latino characters. That was published in the Book Trust. And so the reason I've sort of gone the self-published route is because there's also too few of us getting through the doors. And so I do have to also give out a big shout out to people like Stormzy, who's doing that work with Penguin to make sure that there is more of us represented. But for somebody like me with a book that's would be perceived quite nichey, they might not see me. So I have to do what I need to do to make sure that there is an opportunity.
And I think us as parents of any young children need to push to have reading material for our kids in schools like this. And I've got lots of copies here, and I'm going to be giving some away in a competition. Not today. I'm going to push it onto my Facebook page. So I'm going to give these away in the course of the next couple of weeks. You need to get yourself a copy of one of these. I have no young children, unfortunately, but I've had a good read of them. Thoroughly enjoyed them and been informative. And I've learned something about symbols as well. So I've come away with some knowledge also. And if you do have some young children between the ages of 3 and 10, these are absolutely perfect. And as I said, I've got some to give away. And I'll give them away to the next person that goes on and likes my Instagram on House Party Queen and on my Facebook page as well. You have to go on and like both, HPQ 2020. And I will give some of these copies away to the people that I see on there. Izzie, you have been an amazing guest. I'm on a timeline. Shui's there. Martin's there in the background, making sure that I'm keeping on time, and I'm keeping on time.
You've done really well today, I'll tell you. You've done done excellent. Well done, Izzie. Absolutely well done to you, man. You know, I'm just sitting back here, doing all bits and pieces in the background, listening. I've got to do you guys on loudspeaker while I'm back and forth from the studio. But well done to you, man. And keep up the works. And look forward to having you back with your husband, learning more about you as well.
Yes. And your husband, very, very quickly, is music publisher?
He's back. We're Back to the Future Music Publishing. The reason we were at the ASWL was that we had 3 artists nominated.
Well done.
And what we do is we represent artists and make sure that their works are registered so that they can get paid properly.
Right,
That's
so
you probably find a lot of artists.
If you are, there's a lot not getting paid, and this lady and her husband ensure that the artists are getting paid with the right money. So if you are an up and coming artist or an artist already and looking to get paid, you need to contact this couple here. They will be amazing. They'll be coming on the July show. I hope we've got Father's Day for next month.
That's right.
Definitely, we're coming on to talk to you more. Izzie, you've been amazing. Thank you so much. I'm going to bring you back into the green room and we'll talk later. Thank you.
Brilliant. Fantastic, HP. Or should I say Alison? Oh, dear. Another show. Another Sunday. Actually, talk about Father's Day. I forgot about that next month, isn't it? How can I forget about our day?
Well, I've got, and I've got some amazing guests lined up for Father's Day, as well as it being hosted by yourself and me,
Donovan.
Man. I've got Tipper Irie is going to come on the show.
Brilliant.
He's coming on. And also the lovely Jay Blade. So this was a good direct link from Lorraine. Lorraine, thank you so much for this, Miss L vibes. But Jay Blades is from the Repair Shop. He's going to come on for the Father's Day special as well. So I've got 2 great guests to come on for this Sunday. Not this Sunday, sorry, the 19th of June. From 12 till 3 p.m. Look forward to that show. It's going to be a bundle of fun, especially with Countryman on there. We're not going to stop laughing, I bet. And we're going to have the Father's Day messaging like we did for the Mother's Day.
That's right.
We won't have the kudo board. I'm just going to put all the messages on this particular other app I've got, and we'll run them through as and when they come in. But yes, there's a competition. Send in your messages, the best Father's Day messages. They will all be screened, and a few will win some special Father's Day prizes.
That's right. Special prizes. Yep, looking forward to it. 2 minutes away from 3. What's in the pipeline then? Apart from Father's Day, let's have a quick chinwag. What's in the pipeline? HP, are you on this Thursday? It's your Thursday this week, isn't it?
I tell you what, work is just, I left a corporate job to go and do like a job that's not paying as much money because I just didn't want the hassle of working so hard. And I was working 12-hour days. Yeah. I'm now working for the London Borough of Cultures, which is Lewisham Council. Every year a borough wins some money from the Mayor's office and from the Arts Council. And they've got a year-long worth of celebrations they are doing in Lewisham. And so I'm working for them at the moment. I'm dealing with the fundraising and the events, and I've been roped in to do all the budgets because it's just a mess. They've got 3.2 million to spend. Yeah. So I'm sitting there thinking,
let me get my bank details in.
Sorry?
I'll send you my Monzo account details.
But they've got some great things going on, and it's put me on a platform where I'm able to recommend people. So they've got a sound system trial going on, and Saxon pulled out because there's a sound system there they really didn't want to play it with. And so I recommended Gladdywax. So Gladdywax are now in there. So, you know,
brilliant.
keep an eye on lots of things. They've got big people. They're always looking for artists and things to do on there. So the people that I know that are doing certain things, I'm pushing them forward into some of these events because there's money as well. There's grant money in there as well that they haven't spent.
And they need to spend it. I find it strange though when you got these establishments that have money to spend and they need to spend it. Just give them my details, man. I'll help them spend. I'll help them spend it.
Well, the only thing that concerns me, without putting my role at risk, of which I'm on contract, is the fact that it's a lot of black events being organised by non-black people.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's
what
happens.
It's a big bugbear of mine.
Most of the major events
about dealing with sound systems when you don't even know the history of it, or I find it quite difficult. Especially some of the things I've heard and seen, and I'm not a person to keep my mouth shut, so I have to speak up. Have you ever thought of this? You know, have you, not by saying, I don't like the way you do that, but just giving them another different part of commentary. But I'm going to wait. It's 3:00. Should we?
I know.
Martin, we said we were going to wrap up.
3:00. So I'm going to play one song, and then we're out the door. So should we say our byes from now? And play a song to play out adverts.
Thank you to all the Mixclouders. Thank you, Nats. She's always a pleasure to have on Mixcloud. She's so interactive, and it's great to see some of the questions that's coming on. Nats has followed you, Izzie. She's looking at your books already. And you know what, Nats? You know what I'm going to do? Nats, send me your details. We're going to send you one. Seeing as though you've been so instrumental.
Just like that.
Send me your details afterwards, okay? Or send it to Martin. And I'll send you a book or two, all right? Just for you. ETYS, fantastic show. Thank you, so informative. Thank you. That's what I have to say. Thank you to everybody. And Marcia Williams. Marcia, I'll send you one as well because you asked for a link. So that's Marcia. And that's, you will get one of these books, all right?
Just like that. See?
Just like that.
Another show. Another day. It's Sunday, guys. You know what happens on Sunday. Sunday is supposed to be the day for relaxing, really, Sunday's a day for relaxing. But it doesn't really happen like it used to back in the day. Sunday used to be, shops were closed. If you didn't catch your off license open in the afternoon, you have to go back in the evening. But now, Sunday's just another day, isn't it?
It is. It's another working day as far as the world is concerned.
Another working day. Guys, thank you so much.
Marie, books will be on their way to you. Don't forget, send me your details so I can get these sent out to you. And I hope you enjoy. Send me a video once you've got them so me and Izzie can promote and put them on Instagram. Isn't that right, Izzie?
That's right. Fantastic.
Thank you very much, guys.
I shall see you later on this evening. HP.
You will do. Fingers crossed. GY Radio.
Miss L Vibes, Random Wednesdays. You know what I mean? All right. So we're going to play out with this one. And I shall see you guys soon. I'll be back on Tuesday morning with Sharky. House Party Queen will be back on Thursday. 6 to 8. Bye for now.
Together
House Party Queen on GY Radio.
Why? Radio with the House Party Queen. House Party Queen. House Party Queen. There's only one, and she is original. The House Party Queen
on GY Radio.
But everything seems to be the same. I want you where you are now. Don't wanna lose you. I've been thinking over again. Take you to the top. Tell me of your hidden thoughts. Come on, let me love you again. Do the best I can. Each one know you again.
This is GY Radio, the little station with big intentions.
You better know that.
The legendary countryman invites you all to his 25th birthday party.
No, Shawnee, the 35th birthday party.
The 35th birthday party. The Errol McKellar fundraising edition in a rub-a-dub style. From 9 p.m. till late on Saturday, the 28th of May at ML2 New Canal Street.
Next door, the old Latif Digbeth in Birmingham.
Digbeth Birmingham B55BL. Tickets are available now online from getyourtickets.co.uk. Hatman Birmingham City Centre, Summit Record Shop, Dudley Road, Birmingham. Or call 07961 173
And by the way, we have the bird service ticket to prove everything. 28th of May.
A DJ and a cobbler invites you to the Manchester Spa Weekender from Friday 27th to Sunday 29th of January 2023. We'll be staying at the beautiful Park Inn, Radisson Hotel. Spend the whole weekend relaxing in the spa. Do a bit of shopping, or if you just want to meet new friends. This fabulous spa weekender is only £129.99 inclusive of breakfast. Based on 2 people sharing, it's easy deposit £40 with 3 payments of £30, then you're sorted. Everyone who books will get 25% off all treatment. For more info, call 07985 118 123 or 07961 173 642. Or visit getyourtickets.co.uk. The Manchester Spa Weekender. Sponsored by Get Your Tickets and GY Radio.
James Shoe Care is your multi-service store in Barkingside, and Martin Winter has now been trading there for 13 years. Repairing your shoes, cutting your keys, engraving and supplying your sports trophies, stocks, leather and travel goods, repairing your watches and giving you the best service ever. He opens from 9 to 5:30 Monday to Saturday. So pop in. James Shoe Care, 97 High Street, Barkingside, Essex, IG6 2AH. Visit jscbarkingside.co.uk. Call 07985 118 123. James Shoe Care, Barkingside. We're not just a load of cobblers.
Martin Winter and Michael Simon presents their double Leo and Virgo celebration of life on Saturday, 24th of September from 9 p.m. till 3 a.m. at the beautiful Woolston Manor Country Club, Abridge Road, Chigwell, Essex, IG7 6BX. There will be 2 rooms of new and old school music by the best of the best. 100 super early tickets at £15 are now available on Get Your Tickets £20 and £25 thereafter. For VIP tables and party bookings, call 07985 118 123. That's 07985 118 123. Life's a wonderful thing, so let's all celebrate with Martin and Michael on Saturday, 24th September.
Ring the alarm, and not a sound is gone.
Barrister and Music Hall Promotions present the Four Aces Club Reunion Dance Part 2. Saturday, 4th of June at Tottenham Green Leisure Centre, Phillip Lane, N15 4JA. For the first time ever in one lawn, Saxon, Fat Man, and Java. 100 early bird tickets at £10 and £12.50. It's £15 after from Eventbrite. Getyourtickets.co.uk. The DJs, promoter and usual outlets. No booking fee for online tickets. It's more on the door. The Four Aces Club Reunion Dance Part 2, Saturday 4th of June from 10 till 5 a.m. Call 07958 187 054. Sponsored by MH Graphics.
We worldwide, baby. With DJs from London, Birmingham, Wolverhampton, Coventry, Nottingham, Northampton, Wales, Essex, Bournemouth, Leeds, Manchester, and the USA. We are GY Radio.
There ain't no other station like this.